Kerrigan, here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. President Donald Trump has approved the major disaster declaration requested by Governor Eddie Calvo to help pay for the damage done by Typhoon Mangkhut as it passed over the Mariana Islands on September 10th. The declaration means various GovGuam agencies and nonprofit organizations are now eligible to receive financial assistance. However, the governor's request for individual assistance for private homeowners is still under review. Families whose homes were damaged are not yet eligible to apply for any federal assistance. In a release yesterday, Calvo said the declaration will provide federal aid to supplement local recovery efforts, especially for the critical infrastructure. And even though federal aid for individuals and households has not yet been approved, the governor said he looks forward to a favorable decision from President Trump. Guam Animals in Need is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest or grand jury indictment of the person who killed a pet dog named Pugua. The dog was discovered near his Jigo home. According to GAIN, a neighbor heard distressed howls around 11 a.m. last Thursday morning. The dog's body was found shot and possibly beaten in the carport of a family friend who'd been caring for the dog during the day. A bloody shovel was found nearby. GAIN board president Cyrus Lur said the reward money came from an anonymous donor. According to GAIN, the dog's death was one of 4 recent attacks on pets in the same neighborhood located near the Jigo mayor's office. We'll have more news after this.
KFC has finally answered the world's most important question. What came first, the chicken or the egg? And the answer is both. Introducing KFC's KFC AM, their new Southern and local-inspired breakfast. AM-loaded platter with chicken fried rice, waffles, and Colonel's chicken congee. KFC also has your all-time favorites, AM chicken and egg wraps, Southern biscuit and sausage sandwich, and hash browns. So for finger-licking good mornings, AM will never be the same at KFC. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
For more than 40 years, we've earned your trust, caring for our island's health, quality care and access to health solutions you deserve. Take care, our island, your health plan. Take care, health solutions that you deserve. Take care, peace of mind to comfort you. Take care, take care, take care.
10 minutes past 6 a.m. here at The Point. The sailor whose body was recovered in the waters off Guam on Saturday has been identified now as Petty Officer 3rd Class Zahir Hakim. The 20-year-old Hakim was from Arizona. He had just completed his 2nd year in the Navy. He was among the 4,000 sailors from the Ronald Reagan who were given shore leave last week after the aircraft carrier docked at Naval Base Guam following the conclusion of the military exercise Valiant Shield. On Friday, as a tropical storm approached, Hakim was swept away while swimming with 2 other sailors at Haputo Beach in Dededo. A sentencing hearing in district court yesterday had to be postponed because the defendant was high on drugs. Dolores Westfall was on pretrial release after pleading guilty to attempted possession of meth with intent to distribute. Assistant Public Defender Leilani Lujan, who represents Westfall, asked District Court Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood for a postponement of the sentencing hearing because she didn't think her client was in the proper state of mind. Lujan said she didn't think her client would fully understand the sentencing. The pretrial parole officer also told the court that Westfall had tested positive that day for meth, cocaine, and MDMA. The parole officer said that was the 3rd time Westfall had tested positive for drug use. Judge Gatewood observed that Westfall's decision to come to her sentencing in such a condition was pretty contemptuous, she said. Westfall's pretrial release was revoked. She was remanded to the custody of U.S. Marshals. Her sentencing was rescheduled for Friday. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now, take a look at weather.
Yes, we'll address that last story a little bit later on in the program, I think. Kevin, 12 after 6 o'clock in the morning, partly cloudy skies with some isolated showers. There's northeast winds 10 to 15 miles an hour, decreasing this evening. Highs around 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Sunset tonight, 6:09. Sunrise tomorrow morning, about 10 after 6 o'clock. There's still a high surf advisory and high risk of rip currents along west-facing reefs today, so be very wary if you are on the water. Now, I can't put the satellite imagery up for you, but you can explain two things. Number one, what the weather's going to be like, in the near term. Do that without the radar. Come on, Magic Mike. And then the other one is explain why all of a sudden, I don't know, about 5:30, 6 o'clock last night, it started coming down with those really, really thick bullet-sized drops of rain.
Well, let's work from the back towards the front.
Okay.
The rain came together yesterday as a product of a unique set of circumstances with the pretty intense heat we had during the afternoon. Very light winds and ample moisture. We had a little lift from the land and also a bit of a convergence between the outflow from Congrey and an upper level low pressure system that is just to the east of us and will be moving through. So it all came together to bring about a bit of rain, a fair bit of rain, and we're looking for a possible repeat of that situation later on today because this upper level low has to work its way across the Marianas, and it seems like that the activity, any shower activity associated with it, is off to the east of the system. So we're looking at a real good chance of some thunderstorms this afternoon, and it could be some pretty heavy thunderstorms because the reason for those bullet-sized drops of rain is with the upper level low. You have very cold air at the upper levels, and when the when the moisture gets up there, it really condensates in large portions and in large drops, and that falls right back down to earth very quickly. So much of the same again today, and then after today, it looks like the rest of the week should clear out very nicely.
All right, terrific. That's a lot of weather and a lot of news here this morning, brought to you by Bank Pacific, where others put branches, they place roots.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
It's pork sinigang. That's what's for lunch today. It's what did you say, Ray? Pork sinigang. It's a delicious meal and nutritious and tasty, and you can find it waiting for you every Wednesday. That's the big lunch special at King's.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manamku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Portions of the Ray Gibson Show brought to you by Guam Regional Medical City. First choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. Micronesia Renewable Energy. You know, there's never been a better time to go solar. American President lines, they're shipping the future. And American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. In fact, smarter guys. Smarter guys, because I've got this junk in my water. And so I called American Water Tech. The guy comes over. I said, give me the whole house filter. He says, you know what you really need? What you really need, if you want to get rid of the calcium and all that white stuff that sticks to everything and makes the everything that the water touches cloudy. I said, yeah. I said, he says, you need a water softener.
Yes.
I said, do you have that? He says, yes, we have that. So I'm probably going to end up. You know anything about? He says I need to put a concrete pad down somewhere in the. You know how to do that?
Look, man, no, I have no idea how to do concrete.
Concrete pad. Okay.
Makes it important.
Yeah, mix it and pour. Yeah, sounds easy, doesn't it? Yeah, okay. Anyway, so check them out if you've got any of those kind of weird water things happening at your place, too. And finally, call the experts at Guam Hearing Doctors if you're worried about your hearing. The evaluation and process, simple and painless. Painless. Let's go
The
shopping.
Ray Gibson Show. Morning talk that matters. Call now, 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
morning, isn't it? That's Deborah Wise chiming in on the Facebook Live. She says, good morning, Ray and Kevin and Michael. What a beautiful morning we have to share. Yes, it is. And happy birthday to you, Deborah Wise. And you might be wondering how it is I know it's Deborah Wise's birthday. I keep track of everybody's birthday. You know, if I've got a big, long database of birthdays.
That's because you're such a nice guy.
Yeah, that and Facebook. Facebook tells me.
Yeah, thank God for Facebook.
Now I know whose birthday is happening everywhere. Hey, welcome to the program. Excuse the mess. This is the Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point. My name is Ray Gibson. I've got Kevin Kerrigan, the managing editor for the Guam Daily Post, running through an amazing number of stories here, and certainly no shortage of kind of sort of amusing stories that we'll get around to talking about here in a couple of minutes. Michael Knight gets the phone when you call at 888-8255. That's 888-TALK if you're trying to remember that for posterity or, put it on with your important phone numbers. It's funny, it's anymore, we got to kind of give the phone number a lot. And the reason is because most people don't remember phone numbers anymore.
That's right.
Somebody asked me the other day, hey, what's your sister's number? I had to look it up. I'm serious. I had to go into the WhatsApp and so, that's the number she's using these days. Okay.
Sometimes I have to look up my own phone number on the phone. It's like, my number? Oh,
right? Exactly. And so that's the way that works. Just throw me in your in your contacts and we'll be all right. 988-5874 is another way that you can get a hold of me here. That's the radio station's WhatsApp number, 988-5874. And I'm tweaking things on the Facebook Live feature that we have here, and we refer to it as a Facebook Live feature, but it's actually a lot more than just the Facebook platform. What you are watching here today and what you see goes to Facebook Live, obviously, and you're watching it. Many of you watch it there. There's a good number of people that don't watch it on Facebook Live because they work at other radio stations and they're not allowed to have their name shown on it. So what happens is you can do that. You can watch this without being identified by going to thepoint.gu. We've got a monitor section there as well. And I have added a new, it's any speaker, anytime, any screen, anytime. So there is a new method by which you can watch this.
Pray tell.
YouTube.
Ooh,
YouTube Live.
I've actually had some
the
callers
legislature.
asking. Yeah.
Like the legislature has YouTube Live. We got YouTube Live now too.
Very good.
And so when we sign on the Facebook Live this morning, it's the same button that gets pushed, and it just creates another stream. And this one goes to YouTube Live. And so I've been watching a little bit of that. What you will miss on the YouTube Live is you'll be able to see what people are saying, but you won't necessarily be able to interact with each other
there you go.
like you can on Facebook. Now I think you might be able to do that on YouTube. Oh my God, there'd be another thread, another thread of places where we can watch and see what people have got to say about stuff. Speaking of YouTube Live, though, this is the way most people are congregating in the morning.
Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name.
And good morning, Brad Hewitt, Juanita Machi, and Carl and Jerry Gutierrez, and I still have the beetle nut here in the studio. I still have the baby pugwa trees here in the studio. And Kevin and Mike pointed out earlier that there was at least one free rider here in the batch of goodies that I got delivered by Richard yesterday. There's a little tiny snail. Little tiny snail that came along for the ride, and now it is a permanent resident of the Upper Tumon area.
He might have been tiny when he got here. He's pretty big sitting in that pot over there, man. I haven't seen one that big.
It's just in comparison to the little tiny pugwa plants, and those things are going to go strategically around the yard, and will in just a little bit because it seems I don't know how many years. I'll put them where the water leak is that GWA's got to take care of, and that way they'll grow super fast because beetle nut trees are hydrophilic. They like water. Who else is there? Roy Burgess. Huffa, good morning to Doris Minjola, Judy Shockley, Nick Perlosky, Ted Lewis says, good morning, Ray. And The Point, good to have you around here. Lynn Vince, Borja Penlino, who is here with us every single day. So's Anita Muffness and her Valentine's eyes. Good morning. Renzo Osborne, Carm Leon Guerrero, Jeff Pleadwell from Pirates Cove, Carissa Flores, Joni and Ken Borja, That's my classmate. Ishmael is on. Coffee. Yes, there is coffee. Carm Leon Guerrero saying, good morning, Ray and your gang. Have a wonderful Wednesday. How can we not? We'll go through the table of contents in a second, and you'll be able to see all the stuff that we get excited about. Glad the YouTube Live is up so I can still watch from Facebook jail when you get thrown in there every once in a while. Right on. Ryan Nicholas. I know that guy. Frank Akfadzi. Simon Sanchez is on. And I'm so glad that somebody was able to catch up with Simon and have him reflect on the 70th anniversary of Father Duenas. Among, I think, what we would consider still among our greatest achievements, I think, is graduating from Father Duenas Memorial. There's legacy from that particular school. And it means probably more meaningful to me than Simon, considering the sheer number of times that I was threatened to get kicked out of the school. Right? So I tell you what, when I was finally able to walk down the aisle and get my diploma, that was a very, very happy day for my mother and father. They were unbelievably pleased with the effort. Of course, all I got was the diploma binder. Didn't actually have the diploma in it. Oh. Because I failed math. I failed. And so what they gave me was a Xerox copy of a diploma and instructions to show up next week for summer school. I see my pal Melina Montagnana there, Sahara Defensor. Mark Cruz. Hafale, there, buddy. Who else is on? Charlene Marchessault, Francis Salas. I already talked to Deborah Wise and wished her a happy birthday. Mike Ebbio, Francis Salas, Johnson Nicholas. Another day to be alive. Everybody seems to be. Everybody is in a good mood this morning. This is great. Frankie Gutierrez, Carissa Pangilinan, Dave Duenas, Denise Mendiola, Jenny Shimizu, Bob Lazama, Roy Gamboa, Matt Cruz, Florence Cruz, Janae Uggan, Mers Greeno. This program's only 4 hours long. I'm never going to get through this list. Vince Duenas and everybody. It's awesome.
I think it's important to note that you were tweaking only on Facebook and not in court.
What's that? Oh, man,
I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
A terrific story. This story, you go to the Guam Daily Post, this story is so important, it doesn't show up with the other Jughead, Drughead stories, right? This story is on page 5, because they wanted to get to it early. Sentencing delayed after the defendant showed up high. Dolores Westfall on Tuesday in district court, the sentencing hearing was postponed because they tested her for drugs. No! And that day, and they tested positive on her sentencing day.
I was listening to the laundry list that Kevin read. What was it? Meth, weed, and ecstasy?
So methamphetamines, cocaine, and MDMA. That's
ecstasy.
That is ecstasy?
Yeah.
I didn't know what that was.
Yeah.
The guy with the long hair, the hippie guy. Of course he'd know. Of course he'd know what that. MDMA.
I have never ever tried that.
I'm not accusing you of it. I'm just saying.
I just happen to know
the hippie-looking guy is going to know. Let me put your camera back. Let me put the camera back on you so everybody can see what it is I'm talking about. There, hippie guy.
I have a wealth of useless information inside my head.
And so, presiding judge Francis Tidinko Gatewood called the act of coming to court after having recently used drugs pretty contemptuous. And I must say that is the most understated I had ever seen her, right? You remember how tough she was going after Felix Camacho and his gang back in the old days when they were trying to do the thing with your dump. I mean, she was like $1 Million Mondays, man. She's banging the gavel. So for her to just say that's pretty contemptuous, that seems to me is pretty understated. I'm sure that there were other thoughts that were going on in her head. Leilani Lohan represents Westfall and asked the judge for a postponement of sentencing because she doesn't believe her client, quote, is in the proper state of mind for sentencing.
Are you pleading guilty or not guilty?
Huh? What? Well, she's already been found guilty. This is the sentencing hearing.
Maybe they're going to give her a second chance to see if she blows it again.
Well, no. She was remanded to the custody of U.S. Marshals, so she's someplace where she shouldn't be able to get her hands on any more.
What, are you kidding? The drugs are better where she went.
Probably, right? So meth, cocaine, and this ecstasy, she's supposed to have been remanded. Unless she's actually living with the marshal, my guess is that there's a pretty good chance if they send her back to the Department of Corrections, she's probably high again. Yes. Ooh. I can I can see music. I can smell sound. This is great stuff here. I love this. But
see
there
your
is
colors.
something a little bit distressing that I'm noting. So you go from page 5 and the story of this woman who completely missed the opportunity for that come to Jesus moment, right? I mean that was it. She could have gone in there. I would have gone in something that looked like an old academy uniform, right? Like a private school uniform, and I'd have my hair back and look complete unthreatening. And like I'm ready to put my life together if you'll only give me a chance, and maybe a short sentence or maybe something where I don't necessarily have to go to. That's what I would do.
But maybe that's the outfit she wears to get a discount on when she scores the drugs.
But so it's all of a sudden, hey, look, today's my sentencing hearing. I mean, how did this conversation go with her friends that day? And can you imagine the conversation what the conversation must have been like between her and her lawyer? Huh? You wait a second.
There'd be a lot of those, huh?
You knew what today was, right? You knew that this was a red letter day on the calendar.
Are you ready for your appearance?
All right, but, so anyway, so you fast forward to page 7, and then we've got another story about a lady named Cheryl Lynn Brewer's been headline is "Woman with Drug Past Arrested Again." Teachable moment. Trial delayed in drug case and the criminal trial setting for a woman allegedly found with illegal controlled substances after being pulled over for a faulty license plate has been rescheduled for October the 24th. Woman, drugs, woman with drug past, woman supposed to get sentenced, shows up high. And I'm wondering, this is a question. Let me just try to be serious for a second.
Okay.
I know it's hard because I'm wearing this orange shirt.
Yeah,
but what is happening in our community where the women seem to be getting in as much trouble and in serious trouble at that as some of the guys are? Yeah, I tell you what, that screws up everybody's life, doesn't it? But that's the deal. I don't know. It just seems to me that why is that such a big girl drug? Why? I can hear your thing.
Oops.
Your computer's talking to me.
Sorry.
Is it going to give me an answer to my question?
Not
The
yet.
long and short of it, in my mind, is the absolute lack of any sort of real penalties for getting caught with the stuff.
Well,
they
let's
catch
see.
him. They say, "Oh, okay, you get a court date in a month. We're going to let you go back out on the streets so you can get high some more."
Yeah, well,
And that's what they do.
and we've talked about that, the great revolving door around here, and there doesn't seem to be a method by which we have to be able to even surveil them when they're out. It seems to me that we've got the technology, just got to figure out how to pay for it and use it. The lady, I've got a feeling, because I know Judge Frances Tadenko Gatewood, and if she gets as tough with this girl, Dolores Westfall, as she has been on the government of Guam and our Guam Solid Waste Authority, I've got a feeling that this girl is going to go in for all day, and there will be a lesson learned. There will be a lesson learned.
Yeah, to take the higher road here, man, it really is a serious problem with addiction on this island and all islands. Same thing happened when I went to Hawaii.
There's a shabu problem in the Philippines. There's an ice problem here. There's a methamphetamine, whatever you want to call it, everywhere. I mean, just there's ice heads all over the place, and we seem to be incapable of dealing with this problem and getting it to a point where people can identify themselves as having a problem and maybe getting off the drug.
I think the statistics will back this statement, and it seems to be a bigger problem within island communities because, number one, you have an enclosed community, you have fewer people, and you have a greater percentage of those people that are actually addicted to something. And I'm not sure what the deal is. You move to an island, you kind of get out in the sun and the surf, and it's like you should be happier. Yeah. And people just aren't, and I don't know what's up.
It's how hard it is to make a living around here, and the cost of living is tough, and people have a hard time with the pressure. Brad saying, glad to hear Kevin chuckle from time to time. Lynn Vince, a new definition of stupid that we're talking about. Renzo says, that's meth up. Okay, now that's funny. I'm sorry. I'm going to use that for the rest of the day. Deborah Wise says, I don't think this was one of the intended results of women's equality. I agree. Harsher penalties for drug arrests. Maybe harsher penalties for the drug dealers. Brad says, bingo, Mike, no punishment for anything. Bail bondsmen are needed because the government cannot control or monitor.
Yes.
We've had that conversation as well. Patricia Camacho Hughes is on. Randy Kruger is on. But there's These people are somebody's sisters. I mean, if I can't imagine something like that with my sisters, the women in my family, I'd go to any length to find a way to get them off the drugs. And I remember I was reading a story a couple of months ago about a woman who was doing well. I mean, they actually let her out for a little bit to go visit with her family. She was doing that well with her drug treatment and got into her family, and her brother, meth head, gave her some, and that caused her to have to restart the whole thing with the courts all over again.
And
Crazy.
I was about to say that a lot of times family members or even close friends cannot help with that. It's such a personal experience. They have to be willing to settle into the act of getting fixed and trying to become, well as well as they can, because it'll be a struggle for them the rest of their lives.
Meth is a bad one. I don't know too many people that I know of that had a problem with it that were able to come back off of it, and I know many that have died as a result of it, one way or the other. It's 6:32 in the morning, and that's where we're going to leave things now. We'll get another dose of headlines and traffic, et cetera, coming up right here on the Ray Gibson Show. On the Point, Kevin Kerrigan now from the Guam Daily Post.
Hafa and Good Morning Guam. In the headlines from the Daily Post this morning, Ovita Nauta, a former civilian employee of the Guam Police Department, has been given a one-year suspended sentence and ordered to pay $7,600 in restitution. Nauta pleaded guilty in February to official misconduct and issuing dishonored checks. Nauta is currently employed at the Department of Corrections. DOC Director Tony Lamarena said she is not subject to any disciplinary action at DOC for events that occurred 3 and 4 years ago at the Guam Police Department. He said the court has imposed its punishment, and Nauta has been doing an outstanding job, he said, at DOC. A motorcyclist was in stable condition at Guam Memorial Hospital yesterday afternoon after being hit by an SUV in Harmon. The accident occurred shortly before 11 a.m. yesterday morning. Guam Police Department spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says that the motorcyclist was traveling east on Harmon Industrial Road when the operator of a black Hyundai Santa Fe pulled out of a private driveway next to the Sign King and collided with a motorcycle. Guam Fire spokesman Kevin Riley reports that when GFD medics arrived on the scene, the injured motorcyclist was unconscious and unresponsive. However, the man was later listed in stable condition at GMH, said Sergeant Tapau. No arrests or citation in that incident. The accident is under investigation. Guam Regional Medical City will resume urgent care services this Saturday. The hospital suspended the service Monday due to temporary strategic staffing reassignments. Emergency department services are unaffected by the suspension, said GRMC spokeswoman Cindy Hansen. Any patients coming in for urgent care are being seen in the emergency department, she said. The urgent care department sees patients with less critical issues, so the emergency department can focus on more dire cases. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
iConnect time is 6:35. They are the practical choice. Call them at 888-8888 and find out about your special rate on mobile, internet, and push-to-talk plans at iConnect.
The Westin Resort Guam is excited to announce the return of Hansik at Taste. Experience the elegance of Korean cuisine throughout the years, infused with a modern Chinese twist. Their guest chefs from Korea will take you on an extraordinary culinary voyage. $36 for adults and $18 for children 6 to 11. From October 8th to the 13th. Come and enjoy the taste of Hansik Korean lunch buffet from 11:30 to 2:30 at Taste. Call the Westin Guam Resort for reservations at 647-1020.
Hot pastrami. That is such a big deal that the folks over at Subway want me to talk about it like every single hour. Now, I am told that in some places there's like a rush on the hot pastrami. So not only do I need you to get to your favorite Subway and try one of these things, limited time, right? But I'm told that there are some Subways that run out. So you need to get to your favorite Subway. You need to get there early. You need to order heavy and need to order double maybe and get your hands around a hot pastrami sandwich from Subway.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
Boy, I hope there's no traffic because I forgot to turn the traffic gizmo on. I'm telling you, it's the orange shirt. That's why it's changing everything. It's changing everything around. Tell you what, we'll talk about some. Play a commercial and then I'll get the thing going and then I can tell everybody what happened on the road.
UFC 229 on Sunday, October 7th. The notorious Conor McGregor returns to retake the UFC lightweight title from unbeaten champion Khabib Nurmagomedov in the main event of UFC 229. Pre-show starts at 10 a.m. and the fight starts at noon. Use your remote or call 688-CARE to order this pay-per-view event on Channel 401 or in HD on Channel 402. UFC 229 on Docomo Pacific is brought to you by TGI Fridays.
The Coconut Wireless is back. The Ray Gibson Show. Any speaker, anytime. On demand at thepoint.gu.
6:38 a.m., 93.3 FM. That's where you can find this radio station, and we're also broadcasting on Facebook Live, and have been doing so since about day number 1 on this show. And then we have now added and I'm going to brag about this relentlessly. So just bear with me as I get through this promotional surge that I've got in my head. That we're also on YouTube Live as well. And for those of you that are going, well, okay, how do I find you on YouTube Live? Just, that my email, because everything's tied to email addresses, right? So just look for YouTube, go to YouTube and look for Ray Gibson Show. That's all you need to know. Ray Gibson Show on YouTube, and you can subscribe to it. And then anytime I add the show, which I don't think I'll need to do anymore because now it'll do live and then it'll stay as a video on demand, I believe. Once that happens, then every time you'll get a notification that the show is there. So very, very cool technology. Facebook Live, YouTube Live, and live at thepoint.gu, as well as the actual radio. And you can hear us on streams and all kinds of other things out there. Brian Bamba there. Carissa Flores, good point. Meth addiction is an epidemic everywhere. Guam needs better mental health programs. And our elected government officials, it looks like there wants to be more there, but I don't think we need any more elected government officials. I'm sure that's not what you're saying. But yeah, more needs to be done. There's a press release that came out of the governor's office recently talking about how wonderful it is that we've got 4% unemployment here on Guam. I'm glad there's a lot of people working. I'm glad that there's a lot of people working, but it seems to me more people are working because, man, they've got to have a job or two to stay on top of the rising cost of living that we all seem to be enduring around here for the reason that is, I don't know, because we're Guam. I don't know, 20 away from 6 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning. 888-8255. That's 888-8255. One of the other stories that you will see in the Guam Daily Post this morning, very interesting write-up on our different kinds of quests that we have. Neil Weir is joining me, and I haven't had a chance to talk with Neil in a couple of months. Good morning, buddy. How you doing?
Top of the day, Ray. Good morning.
There's this very interesting press release that you sent out yesterday. I didn't have a chance to review it until I'd actually read the story in the Post and then reread what you had sent out in the press release. Yeah. Disenfranchisement in Guam to be considered by a couple of outfits on the same day, October the 5th, and I presume that's stateside October the 5th. The U.S. Supreme Court and the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights will both be pondering disenfranchisement on Guam on a couple of cases that you have been working on. So fill in the blanks for me. Fill in some of the rest of it. Put some meat on this bone. It's the Sepulveda case?
Yeah, so one case that we have up before the U.S. Supreme Court for consideration of whether they'll grant review in the case is Segovia versus the United States, where we represent
Segovia,
a number of folks living in Guam, Puerto Rico, and the U.S. Virgin Islands who'd actually be able to vote for president if they live in other territories or even the U.S. or even a foreign country, but can't because they live in Guam. And this is a case that's, been moving along the last few years, and this is finally the opportunity where the Supreme Court will decide whether or not to take the case. And what, just as a matter of coincidence, what's exciting is that another case we're involved in, Rosselló versus the United States, the case about whether disenfranchisement in U.S. territories violates the United States commitments under international law, is actually going to have a hearing in Colorado on the same day, this Friday, stateside.
Which one are you going to be at?
Whether
Which one are you going to be at, Neil?
I'm going to be in D.C. Yeah, I was hoping to make it out to Boulder, but that didn't work out. So I'll be out in D.C. But, we're fingers crossed that both go well. I mean, either one of these would be potentially very historic, but to have both take place on the same day is pretty exciting.
Well, it's not every case in the world that you send to the Supreme Court that they even consider for consideration.
Yeah, exactly. And we've got a lot of support behind the case. Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands both filed briefs supporting the case. We have a group of prominent voting rights scholars and other constitutional law scholars. And so we've been able to build some good momentum, and we're hoping that that's enough to kind of get us, across the bridge with the Supreme Court. They don't take a lot of cases.
Yep.
And, there's a lot going on now with the Supreme Court and the confirmation process. But I'm always optimistic.
Well, you in fact link that in the conversation. You link the idea that they're looking at Kavanaugh, and it's of vital interest seemingly across the 50 United States of America, but out here in the hinterlands and the fringes of democracy, for us it's not quite the same because we don't really have a say in that process. So we are purely observers in this whole Kavanaugh case.
Yeah, and I was just talking with one of the plaintiffs we represent in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and she, is actually a sexual assault survivor, feels very passionately about the issues being considered and debated as part of the Kavanaugh confirmation process. But like, residents of Guam, has no senator to call to
say yes or no. I love the guy, hate the guy. Yeah.
And, again, in Guam, whether you love or hate Kavanaugh, you really have no say in it. And, this is someone who's going to potentially hear cases affecting Guam. Supreme Court in the past has even ruled in ways that, basically resolve even gubernatorial elections. You'll remember the Gutierrez versus Ada lawsuit that went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court. So here's a body that is deciding questions that impact, people's lives in Guam. And, residents of Guam have no say in voting for who the president is that nominates the Supreme Court justice, and then no say in the Senate that confirms them. And so that's just, another example of almost daily examples on the island of where federal decisions are made that impact island residents, and yet the people of Guam have no say in making those decisions.
Neil, I'm interested in a couple of things. Not being a JD myself, but certainly watching enough television shows. There are some there are some peculiarities, strategies, and tactics involved once you are at the Supreme Court. And in this case, you refer to circuit splits, making it more likely that the Supreme Court could grant review. What do you mean by circuit splits, and what are they? And if you don't think I'll understand, just say so. You cannot insult me, but just try.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court doesn't take a lot of cases, but a type of case that they very often do review is where one federal circuit, say the Ninth Circuit, reaches a different ruling on a legal issue than, another legal circuit, say the D.C. Circuit. So in Segovia versus the United States, each of the three issues we raise, from the level of review that the denial of voting rights in Guam should have to, what types of justifications can be allowed to, allow for that kind of discrimination. Each of the issues, there's a split between the way the Seventh Circuit ruled, where our case was being heard before, and other circuits within the federal courts. And so, in essence, that means depending on where you live in the United States, the answer to these legal questions is different. And those are the kinds of cases that the Supreme Court very often
They love to get those.
in order to create a uniform rule throughout the United States. And so the fact that we have three really gives three separate hooks that the court could get interested in trying to resolve that, making it a lot more likely than just your average case. I mean, the Supreme Court doesn't typically take cases just because they were wrongly decided, as we certainly think the ruling below was. There has to be something more on top of that as a justification for why the court should take the case at this time. And, fortunately for our case, there are a number of those hooks that could make it more likely for the court.
A little bit more compelling, a little bit more interesting for them to play around with.
Absolutely. And more important.
When do you think we might hear the answer on whether they are going to pick it up or not?
So we could hear as soon as 10 a.m. next Tuesday, when the court will issue orders from the previous week's conference. But oftentimes it ends up, these kinds of decisions end up taking a few weeks as the justices kind of consider which cases to take. Also, with the Kavanaugh confirmation still, being uncertain, the court has basically held off on deciding some cases whether or not to take them, and so they've just kind of pushed those decisions off, and that's certainly something that could happen with this case too. So, next Tuesday is the soonest we'd hear, but I wouldn't be terribly surprised if it ends up taking a few more weeks, and probably the longer we don't hear, actually, the better.
Might be better for us, yeah.
Chances. So we kind of would rather not hear next Tuesday, actually.
Yeah, like anything. Longer. No quick verdicts here. That's what we like to see. 6:48 in the morning. Now, you've mentioned Kavanaugh a couple of times. Obviously, I know you're watching and paying attention. Like most of America, as the Nielsen reports came out, 20.4 million people have tuned in to watch the proceedings. It's been certainly high drama, and I know a lot of people that would watch the Kavanaugh hearings and then turn me on in the morning. Going from one to the other from the different time zones. What do you think is going to happen there?
I think it's hard to say. I mean, I think a lot will depend on what the FBI comes up with, but I think it's certainly, made for, some of the statements he's made, regardless of the sexual assault allegations.
Well, we won't get to see what the FBI comes up with. But hold on, let me just go in this direction. First of all, is the FBI the right people to conduct this? I mean, they've got investigation in their names, but if a crime was committed, wouldn't it be the state police that would have been called in first? And there's the state police now coming for you.
The FBI does these kind of, security reviews for confirmation processes. I've worked with federal nominees, on these types of things before. So this is just kind of the common practice for this kind of thing. I think what's more concerning is some of the statements Judge Kavanaugh has made regarding politicization and partisanship. I mean, that's just really not something you like to see on the court. And so, what would happen, even in a case like ours, which involves something like voting rights. I mean, it's not a partisan case, but you could kind of see, it's like, well, is he going to look at that through a partisan lens, or if, a case comes before the Supreme Court involving the Democratic Party, is it, are they going to get a fair hearing? And so it just was kind of surprising to hear someone like Judge Kavanaugh, who, I think has had a good reputation as a judge, taking it in that direction. And it just raises a lot of questions that I think, some of the senators, are concerned about.
I think he's been in the witness chair too long. I think he's just been in the chair for a long, long time, and looking for some way. When does this end? How is this going to end? How much more of this do I have to endure? And I'm sure the victim is saying the same thing. Interesting stuff. Neil, it's always fun talking with you. When are you coming home?
All right. Thanks, Ray. Yeah, I'm hoping to make it home this fall. We'll see how the Supreme Court, whether they decide to take this case up, and looking for some opportunities to come back home and be with folks and talk about these issues some more.
I think it'll be a good time. I'll see you when you do.
All right, take care.
All right, 9 away from the top of the hour. Neil Weir, ladies and gentlemen, a friend of plenty of ours from around here, and he's got a couple of very, very interesting cases, including one now that is up for consideration over at the U.S. Supreme Court of all places, and then there's another review that is going to get as part of the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. The fun part is that they're going to be heard on exactly the same day. 6 FBI investigations for Kavanaugh already. Accuser and witness, probably first time to go through. Chances, or if any new dirt is found, it won't be the nominee. And Roy Gamboa chiming in here, his thoughts on it. The assumption of guilt is now the norm. You know what? I agree. You know what causes that? I think part of it is certainly a tabloid news media that seems to have grown up since Walter Cronkite died. It just seems to be getting weirder and weirder, the things that we look and see in the newscasts out there. That's one of them. But social media, I think, is also a big culprit. And as much as I love social media, it's my favorite thing. I always believe that radio was the original social media, but now we've got actual digital social media on the phones. We got our WhatsApps, and we've got our Twitters, and we got our Facebooks and our Facebook Lives, and all of that stuff. And oftentimes words will go out on this social media, and it really is a media. And things will be said that have not been vetted by a capable reporter or a managing editor that is able to look at something and say, well, how do you know this happened? Is it the truth? Have you investigated? Have you asked all the right questions? Have you asked both sides of the equation for their questions and questioned them and gotten their comments? I think that's a big problem. The assumption of guilt is now the norm. It's Twitter posses and Facebook posses that'll go out there and just rail on everybody. You want to know how bad it is? Ask Ray Tenorio how bad it is. There's a guy to tell you how vindictive and immediately assumptive the social media is. Uniform Code of Military Justice, guilty until proven innocent. Now politicians know how the military feels. Interesting, Ismail. Very, very interesting. 6:53 in the morning, and so I know many of you might be watching a Facebook Live going, orange, huh? Orange. Is that some kind of dog whistle shirt that you're wearing, Ray? Is that some kind of sign that you are in? No, it's not. My sister, Shelly, gave me 2 shirts. I don't know where she got them from. This is a polo shirt, so I assume it's made in a sweatbox somewhere. But she gave me this one and the pink one.
In my mind, I'm just going to say that you're showing continued support for the existing world champions of baseball who are back in the playoffs and going to win it again.
Looks like you were just released.
That too.
So whichever way. See Ismail. So Ray is in. There it is. Yeah. Look, if you want to, you can. I'm not gonna. I will neither confirm nor deny my inness. It's 6:54. I was gonna take another look at the table of contents and see what's out there, and I'd love to show it to you, and maybe I will. Circle K has got their weekly poll out. I think this is the 3rd. You can find it in the Guam Daily Post, and so what they do for those of the uninitiated here, the way it works over at the Guam Daily Post and 76 Circle K is they will print. They have printed. Hold on, I'm trying to get out of this particular gallery here so I can get to another one that actually has what it is that I'm looking for. They have got the picture now of. Hold on, I'm trying to think and talk at the same time, and it's not working all of a sudden, and I'm not sure why. Wait, I'll get there. Found it. Okay. Thank you. I just needed the music. That's all I needed. So here it is, the weekly poll results. So people go to 76 Circle K and they buy a cup of coffee because they got good coffee in there, and there's all kinds of different ones. They get the girly coffees, and they've got the ones with extra caffeine in it. And,
not to mention the friendly staff.
Very, very friendly. Love the friendly staff, and in my mind, it's a battle between in my mind, right? Who's friendlier? There's the ones up at Ocean Vista.
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm related to half of them. So, because they treat me like a relative, it's awesome.
Right.
And the ones down, you come down here at the one at airport.
Okay, yeah, that's nice. Yeah,
it's like they bend over backwards to make sure that you're happy. Here's your newspaper, right? It's all of that. So anyway, so you buy a cup of coffee and you get the sleeve, and you can select a sleeve based on your favorite candidate. And in this case, it's Lulian Guerrero or Ray Tenorio or write-in.
Yeah, a silhouette there. Did they change that silhouette to your picture? 'Cause
No.
I actually formally requested that they do that.
No, they have not. You know what? I've got a stealth silhouette. So what will happen is you try to change that picture, it'll just come out like it'll just be a stick.
Like,
Because I'm in stealth mode most of the time. So here are the results. Lulian Guerrero, 42%. She's got 42%. Ray Tenorio at 24%, and Write-In at 34%. Write-In is in second place.
Wow.
in this poll. Now, I believe that these are fairly accurate polls. And the idea behind it is you got to pay to buy the coffee to get the sleeve. So, people are literally putting their money where their vote is.
Mm-hmm.
And so what seriously has to happen is the Tenorio people need to start buying their coffee over at 76. So they've got one on the way to Adelup. You guys, you got one on the way to Adelup. See, you got to treat it like the online polls, right? You just bring all of the nose pickers together and say, this week you're all drinking coffee. Everybody is drinking coffee. I want everybody. How much coffee can you drink in a day? Like 6 or 7, right? So you just go and get 6 or 7.
And realistically, I think that could come out of the campaign funds.
Just
saying.
There's that political action group, which is not a political action group. Maybe they could subsidize a little bit of this. But come on, you guys. You don't want to get beat by Write-In, do you? Now the other thing I surmise is it possible that members of the Tenorio camp, Republicans largely, simply don't drink gas station coffee.
Ew.
I'm sorry, that's the hoi polloi. We don't drink gas station coffee. Oh, we go to the cafes for our coffee. That's. And you have to say it like that. The cafes. We like to go to the cafes for our coffee and our shots.
Grab the beamer. We're going to the cafe.
Espresso. The cafes.
It's just weird when you say it like that.
Croissant from the cafe. Sorry, we're bougie. That's where we're getting our coffee from. 6:58 in the morning. Sorry, I had to go there because it was funny in my head, and as it turns out, it's at least funny in a couple of other people's heads as well. So that's the results of the weekly poll. Coffee up at 76. It sounds like a radio station. It's not. They ain't paying me for that. I'm doing it just because it's fun. Hey, there's pretty Ashley Calvo Rodriguez there, and I see Jules Tejano that have signed in. We'll talk about who else is playing around with the Facebook Live a little bit later on. Let me just check and see if there's anybody watching on the YouTube Live. Hey, me and 3 other people have got the YouTube live stream going. And unfortunately, I think you can talk to me on the YouTube Live, but just know I'm not going to check it as often as I check the Facebook Live. Okay, that's not permission to write scurrilous and nasty things. Put those in the email, RayGibsonShow@gmail.com. Thank you so much. It was funny in my head again there, too. 7 o'clock in the morning. This is KUSG Hagutnya. My name is Ray Gibson. Kevin Kerrigan coming up with more news on the other side of Fox News Live. And then, of course, we'll hear from Mike Knight and about weather. And Jerry Roberts is going to be doing the extra point. I'll tell you what's going on in the market. That's all ahead right here on The Point.
The FBI keeps digging on Lisa Brady, Fox News, and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is still expecting the FBI report and the confirmation vote on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh this week.
What is doubly exasperating about this is clearly an effort to destroy the reputation of a good man.
McConnell saying he expects Democrats to push for further delays.
We hope that the FBI investigation is full.
Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer questioning the scope of the investigation, also saying he believes the FBI report should be made public when it's done. The president defending his nominee again today, but also expressing confidence in the investigation. Fox's John Decker, live at the White House.
President Trump said the FBI is working very hard on its investigation into sexual assault and misconduct allegations that have been made against Judge Kavanaugh, and he said he continues to support his Supreme Court nominee.
I think that Judge Kavanaugh is doing pretty well, it seems to me, over the last 24 hours. A lot is going to depend on what comes back from the FBI in terms of their their additional number 7 investigation.
With Democrats questioning the truthfulness of Kavanaugh's sworn testimony, the president said lying to Congress by anybody is, in his words, unacceptable. Lisa?
John, President Trump and his siblings accused of tax schemes in a New York Times report claiming that in the 1990s, they boosted money they received from their parents through fraud and tax evasion. A lawyer for the president, Charles Harder, calls the allegations 100% false, highly defamatory, and based on extremely inaccurate information. Harder also says all estate matters were handled by attorneys, accountants, and other Trump family members with virtually no involvement by the president. Fox News, fair and balanced.
One of the longest-running primary care clinics on Guam, the FHP Health Center, has been your convenient one-stop healthcare clinic for you and your family for many generations. FHP's highly trained and well-known medical, dental, and vision providers and their friendly clinical support team are here, ready to take care of you. In addition to the excellent care, FHP offers a full-service pharmacy, laboratory, radiology, and specialty care center in one location. FHP Health Center, our island, your clinic. Most insurance accepted, including Netcare, Aetna, and TRICARE.
The Westin Resort Guam is excited to announce the return of Hansik at Taste. Experience the elegance of Korean cuisine throughout the years, infused with a modern Chinese twist. Their guest chefs from Korea will take you on an extraordinary culinary voyage. $36 for adults and $18 for children 6 to 11. From October 8th to the 13th. Come and enjoy the taste of Hansik Korean lunch buffet from 11:30 to 2:30 at Taste. Call the Westin Guam Resort for reservations at 647-1020.
Hundreds of guns stolen in Tennessee are recovered near Chicago.
The guns were stolen from a UPS facility in Memphis on Sunday, according to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. A spokesman says the estimated 400 weapons taken made this one of the biggest single gun thefts to be investigated by the agency. 2 men were suspected in the case, but only one, an unidentified 18-year-old, is in custody. ATF Chicago tweeted that a reward of up to $5,000 is being offered for information on the whereabouts of the second suspect and anyone else who may be connected to the crime. UPS says it is helping with the investigation. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Reassurance from Facebook about a recent security breach that exposed the personal information of some 50 million users. The company now says investigators have determined that hackers did not access other third-party sites that use Facebook's single login system. There's still no indication that any user information has been misused. The breach has been fixed, but the investigation continues. An object in the far reaches of our solar system, first discovered in 2015, may be a dwarf planet or even a full planet.
The object is cataloged as TG387, but for now they're calling it Goblin. Those scientists are excited about Goblin because its characteristics were discovered using the least biased of their planet-searching techniques. But Goblin is incredibly far away. Its distance to the sun is more than 2.5 times that of Pluto's and more than 80 times that of Earth, a distance of nearly 7.5 billion miles.
Fox's Eben Brown. Which baseball fans get to keep the dream alive? The Cubs and the Rockies play the National League's wild card game tonight. The Yankees and Oakland A's in the AL wild card tomorrow night. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News Radio.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. Half a day. I'm Rita Tidegli of Manila, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Ingatan ang iyong tahanan. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
It's important to have claims process that works for you. At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Cheese curls and hot sauce, pantosta and coffee. Great alone, but better together. Here's another perfect pair for you. Docomo Pacific has created the Better Together bundle, combining 2 great services for one low price. Get unlimited local talk, text, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet speed up to 20 megabits for $109 per month. You also get free installation and a Galaxy A8 Plus when you sign up today. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. Call 688-CARE or see store for details.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 7 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. The sailor whose body was recovered in the waters off Guam Saturday has now been identified as Petty Officer 3rd Class Zahir Hakim. The 20-year-old Hakim was from Arizona. He had just completed his 2nd year in the Navy. He was among 4,000 sailors from the Ronald Reagan aircraft carrier who were given shore leave last week after the carrier docked at Naval Base Guam following the conclusion of the military exercise Valiant Shield. On Friday, as a tropical storm approached, Hakim was swept away while swimming with 2 other sailors at Haputo Beach in Dededo. Ovita Nauta, a former civilian employee of the Guam Police Department, has been given a 1-year suspended sentence and ordered to pay $7,600 in restitution. Nauta pleaded guilty in February to official misconduct and issuing dishonored checks. Nauta is currently employed at the Department of Corrections. DOC Director Tony Lamarena said she is not subject to any disciplinary action at DOC for events that occurred 3 and 4 years ago at the police department. He said the court has imposed its punishment and Nauta has been doing an outstanding job at DOC. We'll have more news after this.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart, and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
10 minutes past 7 a.m. here at The Point. Guam Animals in Need is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest or grand jury indictment of the person who killed a pet dog named Pugwa. The dog was discovered near his Jigo home. According to Gain, a neighbor heard distressed howls around 11 a.m. last Thursday morning. The dog's body was found shot, possibly beaten in the carport of a family friend who had been caring for the dog during the day. A bloody shovel was found nearby. Gain Board President Cyrus Lur said the reward money came from an anonymous donor. According to Gain, the dog's death was one of 4 recent attacks on pets in the same neighborhood located near the Jigo Mayor's office. A motorcyclist was in stable condition at Guam Memorial Hospital yesterday afternoon after being hit by an SUV in Harmon. The accident occurred shortly before 11 a.m. yesterday morning. Guam Police Department spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau says the motorcyclist was traveling east on Harmon Industrial Road when the operator of a black Hyundai Santa Fe pulled out of a private driveway next to Sign King and collided with the motorcycle. Guam Fire spokesman Kevin Riley reports that when GFD medics arrived, the injured motorcyclist was unconscious and unresponsive, but the man was later listed in stable condition at GMH, said Sergeant Tapau. No arrests or citations have been issued. The accident is under investigation. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now. Take a look at weather.
Mike didn't have to do it because I lost the weather again. Nope, found it. Sorry. High surf advisory and high risk of rip currents along west-facing reefs today. There's partly cloudy skies and isolated showers. Northeast winds up to about 15 miles an hour, decreasing this evening. Highs around 89 degrees and overnight lows of about 78 degrees. Where's the heat index today?
Not going to be a heat index, really. It's still going to be very warm, but not approaching those 100-degree heat indices numbers, but probably pretty close. 98, 99, yeah.
Gotcha. So still hot, but at least it's not going to be 100-degree hot. Overnight lows cool 78 degrees, and just another beautiful night last night. Hope everybody got out there and enjoyed some of that and left the no aircon on in the house. Upper level low pressure system moving through the area, enhancing chances for thunderstorms this afternoon. All right. That's okay. I won't be driving.
There we go.
I won't be out driving. It's 7:12. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's Restaurant. 40-plus years they've been serving lunch and dinners and breakfasts to all of us here on Guam, and I don't see any signs of that slowing down. In fact, they just keep making it better, right? So they've got this daily lunch special every day. Monday, Salisbury steak. Tuesday, beefsteak chamorro. Today is Wednesday, so the special is pork sinigang. I like to say pork sinigang. I like to eat pork sinigang. That makes me, wouldn't it be great if you could claim, your heritage based on how much of a certain kind of food that you've eaten in your life? Given the amount of pork sinigang and lumpia that I've had in my life,
you're officially Filipino.
Gotta be. It's got to be. Mostly Filipino. It's 7:13 in the morning. Find that for lunch at King's.
Moraco Equipment on Ipoh Road has been around a while. 28 years on Guam, in fact. 28 long years of dealing with Gov Guam, persevering through typhoons, earthquakes, the U.S. military, boony dogs, boony grass, off-island, on-island, old Marine Corps drive, destructive winds, and dangerous surf. So they know a bit about equipment on Guam. Lucky for us, the employees who work at Moraco Equipment also own Moraco Equipment because they're very proud of what they do. Call 649-1946 or click moracoequipment.com.
Let me see. Who else are big sponsors of the program here? We got First Hawaiian Bank, where it all starts with yes. American President lines they're shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar. We got our friends at American Water Tech, Smarter Water, Better Water, and Guam Regional Medical City, GRMC. First choice for all of your open heart surgery needs.
Ray Gibson brings you closer to the action. Morning talk that matters. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Orange is the new black, Sina Mudda. That is exactly right. That is exactly the point of it. Orange is just the shirt I picked up today because I didn't want to wear the pink one yet. I'm trying to figure out when would October. Anytime in October I can wear pink, right? What is it?
Actually,
Breast Cancer Awareness Month?
Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I saw the ladies. They were gathering up at Challenge San Antonio and Marine Corps Drive on Monday. And I went driving by, and I was thinking, wow, that pink looks really nice. What's going on? And then I realized, it is. It's Breast Cancer Awareness
Month. So, in fact, my friend Sheena drove by and said something about, I love boobs. think is what she was said. Now, the local colloquialism is "save the susus."
Okay.
And I'm not saying that, just because I want to be woke and aware. I just wanted people to say it on the air because it's funny to me. 7:15 in the morning, 888-8255. That's 888-82. And we're already fighting. We were having a good day, and then Elwin chimes in. Note to parents: don't allow your kids to mess up in high school, otherwise they'll miss the chance to be a U.S. Supreme Court judge. May I just say, my opportunities to be a U.S. Supreme Court judge, I didn't miss those in high school. I'd already screwed things up pretty good by junior high. If I ask any of the sisters, they'll tell you. And then on top, if your kids want a chance in what is it Roy saying? If your kids want a chance to, things keep moving. Every time somebody makes a comment, it moves around. If your kids want a chance in life, homeschool them. Don't take any photos. Don't let them out of your house. Society will destroy this generation. Just saying. And then Brad's chiming in. Chris is chiming in. Elwin, he's a liar. A judge needs credibility. Don't you think that's an important trait that a judge nominated for the Supreme Court should possess? Fike. There's a fike on the online. All right, 888-8255 if you want to take the fight. Actually, no, I don't want you to take the fight over here. Frankly, I have not been among the 20.4 million people that have been watching what's been going on with the Kavanaugh thing.
Yeah, just what I hear on Fox News.
Yeah, and so you've got to imagine that anything that I'm connected with, I've probably got a bias already built in or against somebody. So where do we need to go now? Market report. Let's take a quick look at what happened in the markets. I've got the S&P 500 off by about a point, 2,923. The NASDAQ at 79.99. But the Dow is still going up, creeping up, 26,773. They're up another 122 points today. Ka-ching is right, but only if you've got some funds that are indexed to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Otherwise, what are you buying stuff out there on your own? Are you picking out individual stocks from the Dow Jones Industrial? FTSE is down, Nikkei is up, Hang Seng is down, and the Shanghai is up. We'll take a look at oil. That commodity now $75.04 is what that is trading for. And if you give me half a second, I'll go ahead and open up the oil price to find out where Tapas is. $85.98. $85.98. I want to say that might be the high water mark for the year to date. Sorry, that's the month. It's certainly the high water mark for the month. Yeah. Looking at it over the year, it's a high water mark going back to 2017, October of 2017, when Tapas was trading just under $60 a barrel. Now it is almost $86 for a barrel of Tapas crude. You know what's in my head, but I'm not going to say it because every time I do, people get kind of upset about it. I don't have it in front of me. I don't have the thing in front of me, but I wanted to crow for a second about the students at Mount Carmel School, because they have got a businessy thing that is going to be coming up, and I'll get to that here in just a second. Hold on, just do the search for Mount, as in Mount Carmel, MCS School of Business. There it is. Let me just call this thing up here. The Israel School of Business, a 4th annual business fair, is going to be taking place. They'll be hosting it from 9 until 3 Friday at the MCS Phoenix Hall. Middle school students worked with their teachers organizing the fair, continuing a great and fun method of further developing our students' interests in owning their businesses. Developing student interests in owning their own businesses. Don't wait for junior achievement. Get them while they're still in middle school. This is great. The event gives students the opportunity to research and present information about their prospective businesses while showcasing their hard work. So this is great. And I hope that there's no killjoys out there. I hope we don't have anybody that is going to be rolling around going, that would be a great idea. Hey, kid, have you ever heard of the Jones Act? What? What do you mean I can't get these things shipped out here for next to nothing? No, you cannot. Whatever. Addition, local business professionals and leaders will be on hand to judge the presentations. Judges will select 12 winning student projects, and each one of those winning student projects will receive some great prizes. Top overall winners of the fair. MCS will announce the winners on the event day at 2:30 at the Phoenix Hall. Do me a favor, Mike, or either Mike Phillips or Mike Israel. Either one of you, get back to me and beep my phone I like saying beep now because it annoys people. But beep my phone and tell me who the winners of this particular deal are. 7:20 in the morning, and congratulations to all of the students participating, and congratulations to whoever the winner is going to be. Like I said, we'll find out 2:30 on Friday afternoon. And remind me to remind you to call Jane Flores this morning. They have they got a cardboard thing that's coming up, and I remember being really delighted talking about it the last time they did that, so we'll talk about it again for a little bit this morning at some point. Is it 7:21? Yes. Is it time for Jerry Roberts' Extra Point? Ungan, here it is.
If you're going to be a boss, what does it take to be a good one? Well, that starts with the right mindset. I'm Jerry Roberts, and let's talk about 12 things that good bosses believe. Next, on the Extra Point. I came across something written almost a decade ago by Robert Sutton, a professor of management science at Stanford University, and it makes some pretty good sense. If you're now a manager or someday want to be one, this is good stuff to chew on. So I'll take his statements and a few thoughts of mine mixed in and see what you think. What makes for better bosses? Sutton said this: by adopting the habits of good bosses and shunning the sins of bad bosses, anyone can do a better job overseeing the work of others. That's a solid concept and works, but it's lacking one element: the mindset. Sutton would agree. He concluded that all the technique and behavior coaching in the world won't make a boss great if that boss doesn't have the right mental approach to the job. Today we cover the first 6 things good managers believe. Number 1, I have a flawed and incomplete understanding of what it feels like to work for me. This is about awareness of what is going on around us. What impact do we have on others? Have the kind of relationships with workers that they feel comfortable in telling us. Number 2, my success and that of my people depends largely on being the master of obvious and mundane things, not on magical, obscure, or breakthrough ideas or methods. Yes, mastering the fundamentals is essential in business the same as it is in sports or education. We all need to handle the foundational parts of our work at the highest level, then take on the more advanced. 3, having ambitious and well-defined goals is important, but it is useless to think about them much. My job is to focus on the small wins that enable my people to make a little progress every day. It's a good follow-up to the last one. It makes me think of the tortoise and the hare. Consistent progress is the name of the game. 4, one of the most important and most difficult parts of my job is to strike the delicate balance between being too assertive and not assertive enough. You learn this balance by knowing each worker well and understanding how to get the best results from each. 5, my job is to serve as a human shield to protect my people from external intrusions, distractions, and idiocy of every stripe, and to avoid imposing my own idiocy on them as well. There is nothing to add to this one. If you can be this kind of boss, your people will consider you legendary. Number 6, I strive to be confident enough to convince people that I am in charge, but humble enough to realize that I am often going to be wrong. This is leading by example, plus encouraging feedback from the team, including feedback on our personal performance. Then, to be open to discussing that feedback if it's not favorable. That takes courage and a thick skin. Part 2 tomorrow on 12 things good bosses believe. That's the Extra Point. Get out there and make something good happen today. For 93.3 in the Ray Gibson Show, I'm Jerry Roberts.
I believe. Oh, I have another. It's 7:24 in the morning. That's Jerry Roberts. For transcripts of today's program, in fact, for transcripts of all of them, go to GuamTraining.com on the World Wide Web and get caught up on everything. I was just thinking we gotta figure out a mechanism here to be able to take the Jerry Roberts things and put them into some kind of podcast form, so that people can, it's like Saturday and there's nothing else going on, and then you can just listen to them one after the other, or you make it so that your Apple systems will send it to your phone, so that if you miss it on the air, then you've got another way to catch it, or just make it so you never ever miss it on the air. 7:25 in the morning, and some interesting things that I still haven't gotten around to talking about. What do you mean today is Ray's big day? Oh, Today's race, she's talking about not me. See, this is the thing. Whenever I see on this, it's my ego, right? Whenever I see RAY in print somewhere, I assume that somebody is talking about me, but that's not necessarily the case. Yes, and I haven't brought it up. I didn't bring it up in the last hour because frankly we're having fun with too many other things, including the lady that showed up at federal court for her sentencing hearing and showed up high on drugs. You know,
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man.
No, that's really what she sounded like. No, Your Honor.
I ain't high, I'll tell you that, man. I don't feel nothing, man.
I don't feel nothing. 7:26 in the morning. Anyway, so no, I haven't had a chance to talk about Ray's big day yet. We frankly had some time talking about it yesterday. But here's the thing. I learned a long time ago that there are things that I'm good at and there's things I'm not good at. Right. And one of the things I'm not good at legal stuff. Yeah. And I figure, why should I need to be good at legal stuffs if I got Bob Klitsky that works at the radio station? Sure. Right? Sure. So I ought to be able to call Bob Klitsky, hint, 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 and say, Bob, what's going to happen in court today? Mm-hmm. What do you think we are likely to see? Now, I will say, for clarity and in fairness, that among the first things that Bob and other legal eagles that we talked to on the show said was that Ray should probably go and do some kind of a plea arrangement. You know, we'll plea out the most heinous of whatever it is, and plead guilty to the other ones, the lesser ones, if you will, and then we'll pay a fine and then move on with our lives. Yeah, yeah. However, Ray and his lawyer said, no, we're going to trial.
That's what Fisher said, yeah.
We're not pleading out anything here. I believe my client is innocent. My client believes my client is innocent. Therefore, we are going to go and take advantage of all of the legal procedures that are available to us, including our day in court. So what's it going to be like there? As we say, this is going to be a red letter day for anybody in the journalism business, and I know Kevin will have people there, and I know that they're going to be taking very sharp pencils and taking very, very good notes. So we'll be able to talk about it in greater detail probably tomorrow morning. In the meantime, yeah, there's memes. Yeah, have we seen the latest Troy video? I don't know that it's actually from Troy. I just assume that if there's a kill, death hit piece on Rates and Oil these days, it's probably from Troy.
Or someone he
knows.
Or
somebody he knows that is working through some of those things. Anyway, we'll see if we can play some of those for you a little bit later on. 7:28 in the morning. Coming up, headlines and traffic with Kevin Kerrigan and more.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
I've been looking at this thing grow for about the last 10 minutes. It doesn't seem to have any signs of stopping. It looks like there's some traffic from Santos Hill, in the first part of Upper Tumon, over to about where we are here near DPW, and as we launch into the Kmart area. Not exactly sure what's going on. I haven't heard any ambulances or sirens, but maybe just a lot of cars on the road moving slower than usual. We're seeing the same thing happen on Route 3 around the Ukadu area. It slows down a little bit as you make your way towards the intersection. And from the Chicken Joy intersection to the intersection of 1 and 3, we're starting to see traffic beginning to build up through there. Traffic up in Dededo beginning to build southbound, as you might expect. Traffic southbound from Barragatas 8, 10, and 16 towards that one good intersection that takes you into Teason, so people can go to school and work on that side. And we're starting to see traffic slow down on the other intersection to Teason that'll take you through the Parkway and then down into Upper Tumon. Also seeing a little bit of traffic slowing down as you get into the downtown Hagåtña area on Route 4. Maybe that's just people trying to decide, do I turn at McDonald's? Do I turn at Wendy's? McDonald's, Wendy's. Which one should I go to? Go to Wendy's because they're currently advertising with us. It's 7:30 in the morning. That's traffic on the point.
The problem isn't just not being able to hear or understand, or having to tell people to speak louder. Sometimes the frustration is having to repeat yourself too many times, or speaking so loud you're almost shouting. At Guam Hearing Doctors, we understand that hearing problems affect both sides. One of our goals is to help your hearing for those around you. Call us at 989-TEST to learn more.
Paying a fine is not good enough, says Brad. Got to be some sort of probation slapped as well. Then very stern warning that any mess up will result in the revocation of probation. I presume that you're talking about the lieutenant governor here. Because I don't know, I just don't know about the rest of the criminal justice system. But we've got how many cases that are so many it's almost cliche. Where you got somebody that has already been pinned down by the law, been found guilty of something, and say, okay, well, we're going to give you a reduced sentence or a time served or whatever, and you gotta go to probation. How many of these knuckleheads still screw up while they're on probation?
I don't know how the law works here in Guam, but I don't believe you get probation for misdemeanors. Only felonies.
Yeah, well, and they missed the opportunity to go for a felony rap.
That's right.
As many people have pointed out here. 7:31 headlines now from the Guam Daily Post. Here's Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning. President Donald Trump approving a major disaster declaration request submitted by Governor Eddie Calvo to help pay for the damage done by Typhoon Mangkhut as it passed over the Mariana Islands on September 10th. The declaration means various GovGuam agencies and nonprofit organizations on island are now eligible to receive financial assistance. However, the governor's request for individual assistance for private homeowners still under review. Families whose homes were damaged are not yet eligible to apply for federal help. In a release, Calvo said that the declaration for GovGuam will provide federal aid to supplement local recovery efforts, and even though federal aid for individuals and households has not yet been approved, the governor said he looks forward to a favorable decision from President Trump. Cheryl Lynn Brewer, described in court documents as having been involved in street-level drug trafficking, has been arrested and charged. Following up on a tip, the Mandanya Drug Task Force located Brewer on September 25th in a car parked near a GovGuam housing area. When Brewer was asked to step out of the vehicle, she was seen clutching something under her jacket. Then, the court record states, she began to cry and handed the officer a small pouch which contained 2 ounces of suspected methamphetamine. Brewer was not arrested at that time after she told officers that she would identify her supplier. However, she later refused to cooperate, so Brewer was arrested Monday and charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver. In other court news, a sentencing hearing in district court yesterday had to be postponed because the defendant was high on drugs. Dolores Westfall was on pretrial release after pleading guilty to attempted possession of meth with intent to distribute. Assistant Public Defender Leilani Lujan, who represents Westfall, asked District Court Judge Francis Tadinko Gatewood for a postponement because she didn't think her client was in the proper state of mind. She said she didn't think her client would fully understand the sentencing. The pretrial parole officer also told the court that Westfall had tested positive that day for meth, cocaine, and MDMA. The parole officer said it was the third time Westfall had tested positive. Judge Gatewood observed that Westfall's decision to come to her sentencing in such a condition was pretty contemptuous. Westfall's pretrial release was revoked. She was remanded to the custody of the U.S. Marshals. Her sentencing rescheduled for Friday. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
7:34, and before I get to the iConnect time, Mike's got a thing.
Ms. Brewer, with, the 2 ounces sounds rather innocuous. That's 56 grams. That's a lot of ice,
Not
man.
a small amount.
That is not at all a small amount.
Thank God one of us knows a thing or two about cooking, huh? How about that? And the metric system. So, yeah, there is something. And so she said she told the cops that she was going to roll over on the supplier. And then didn't.
Then she didn't. So
here's your handcuffs, lady.
Exactly.
There you go. So they see the cops are out there doing their job. And I want to make that as clear as I possibly can. When I talk about issues that I have with the criminal justice system, it almost never has anything to do with the cops, and especially just regular beat cops. Sometimes we're not always talking about Mandania Task Force. We're talking about a cop that pulled somebody over because they had a car that looked like Mike's.
Yeah.
Right?
No, mine doesn't look like that anymore.
It doesn't look like that anymore?
No,
Really?
I fixed my stuff now.
Did you?
Yeah.
We got duct tape and WD-40. If it moves and it's not supposed to, you put duct tape on it. If it doesn't move and it's supposed to, you put WD-40 on it. I understand. So it doesn't. It just doesn't look like a rolling, moving violation anymore.
No, actually, my car looks fine now.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. Yeah. At any rate, so you get the cops pull somebody over because they got a busted tail light, or their registration's out of date, or I don't think they're allowed to pull people over because they look like they're on ice.
Yeah, I can't do
that.
That's profiling.
Yeah, profiling. So anyway, but they're pulling people over and then taking the second to look at their surroundings, see what's happening, and maybe say, "Excuse me, may I take a look in the back seat? Can you open your trunk for me?"
See, what they can do though is they can say, "Oh well, we pulled you over because it looked like your tags were out, but I see they're not." But
why are you so
they
nervous?
They already got you. So what's wrong? Why you bothered there?
How come there's all this sweat on your upper lip here? That's a sign to cops. You just
midnight.
You get pulled
Why are you
over,
sweating?
you keep wiping your face. Have a napkin around, would you? They give them away for free at the fast food place. 7:36 in the morning. That's iConnect time. Finally, iConnect is the practical choice. Call them at 888-8888 and find out all the great plans they've got on internet and mobile and push to talk. And if you've got really exotic, I say this now because I know, if you've got really exotic telecommunications needs, maybe you need to be able to communicate with each other in a very small space. Maybe you need like walkie-talkies, radios, that kind of thing. Ask them about those plans as well. The practical choice is iConnect.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
You want to talk about something else that's exciting? Food is always exciting, isn't it? Except when you're on a diet. Or remind me to tell you about this there's a new diet that's out there. For those of you that are grazing a lot these days, or for those of you that are in that diet, I forget the name of it. It's the one where you starve yourself until noon.
Wow, that's
right. So you wake up in the morning and you don't eat anything until noon, but after that you can eat pretty much whatever you want.
Doesn't even sound like a diet, does it?
Yeah, no. Anyway, so don't deprive yourself, especially if at the end of the rainbow is the new Wendy's Harvest Chicken Salad. It delivers on all the flavors of the fall, made with fresh cut lettuces, a couple of different kinds of apples, dried cranberries, and the perfect combination of applewood smoked bacon and crumbled feta cheese. Now, you could stop right there and be perfectly happy and say, now, that's a great salad. Oh, by the way, there's chicken in it. And everything gets coated with an apple cider vinaigrette dressing. And there's that feeling again. Brown sugar roasted walnuts this fall. Fall for the new Harvest Chicken Salad from Wendy's. Now, that's better. I knew it was going to get a little bit slower there. Intersection between 3 and 1. It's going to be a little bit to get through that light over by GRMC. Just a lot of cars coming out of that area right now. A lot of cars coming out of Dededo and the northern tip of Vigo. Sorry, southern tip of Vigo, if you will. Up and down Route 27. That's the one that'll take you from where's that? From the Payless, about the Payless area, over to Malakuti's intersection over there, the Dededo Sports Complex Road. We got traffic in both directions. directions that's beginning to build up right now. Still looks like a decent line of traffic from about Santos Hill. That's the one that comes up the Weston and then down Marine Corps Drive. Should clear up a little bit by the time you get right around to the St. John's area, and by the time you've passed that, it's just a lot of cars, but they all seem to be moving in the right direction. Up John F. Kennedy Hill towards Kmart, also a little bit of traffic moving through there, starting to build. And what am I seeing? 8, 10, and 16 is starting to choke up. You will see the slowdown from about where Fury Road is. You know where that is? It's near the post office. Fury Road all the way into Happy Mart. It'll clear up for about 20 feet and then start to busy up again. Traffic in both directions on the other side of that intersection to Route 8 is going to be building up. And we've got a line of traffic that is starting to build up on Route 10 towards 8, 10, and 16. Told you about a little bit of mess in getting into Agania. That is cleared up now. A little bit of a mess southbound towards Adeloop, but that's just a lot of cars. Nothing happening in front of Big Navy, nothing happening at Navy Hospital, and nothing happening at Anderson Air Force Base. So that's a lot of traffic here on the point.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, Prime Loco Moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
It's nice. Rosemary Ogo chiming in on a message on a share that I sent out. Says, listening, watching the program from way down to Suwannee County in Florida. That's nice. That's nice. I appreciate you staying in touch with all of the things that are happening here on Guam. We'll get to talking about some of those in just a minute. 888-8255 is the telephone number. You can WhatsApp me because we are so far into technology right now. It's barely radio as you might remember it from a kid. We're taking advantage of all of the different methods that we have to be able to interface and communicate with you. Call up on the phone. WhatsApp at 988-5874, 988-5874. For those of you that are old school and prefer email, all right, raygibsonshow@gmail.com. I don't read all of them on the air, but I read all of the emails that I get. And so as a result of that, sometimes when I read those things, it will tend to, I don't know, maybe sometimes shift a little bit of my position on things. Remind me to tell you about the every other day diet. That's what I was talking about. It's not a keto diet. It is not the one where you starve yourself until noon every day. I'll describe it in more detail in a couple of minutes. But I did want to get former Senator J.D. And afternoon radio talk show host on 93.3 The Point to opine, if you will, a little bit of what he suspects is going to be happening at 2 o'clock this afternoon at the courthouse when Ray Tenorio goes in. Good morning, Mr. Klitsky.
Hey, good morning, Ray. How are you doing this morning?
You know what? I'm doing all right. You know, it occurs to me that we've got this backwards. How come the old guy isn't doing the morning show and the young guy doing the afternoon show?
Good point. Good point.
Yeah. And because you get into some of these mornings. You wake up early anyway, right? Don't you?
I do.
What time do you rise?
I'm usually up between 5:30 and 6, unless I've got some reason for getting up early.
Oh, forget it. I'm at my desk at 4:45. Never mind. I get up earlier than you. All right. Hey, so today's supposed to be Ray's big day in court. Got to go and answer to the man in a black robe. What's it going to be like?
Well, let's see. You began to phrase the question, what will be happening at 2 o'clock? And I think my best prognostication would be that those in court watching the proceedings are all saying to themselves, I hope this is over by 4 so I can tune in to Tall Tales.
Well,
will probably be the most important part of the morning, right?
No, I think you're right. I think that's what everybody is going. I mean, frankly, it's what I was thinking. Is thank goodness this thing is at 2 because at 4, Bob is probably going to have just all kinds of commentary lined up to begin to discuss maybe some of the legal minutia and what maybe the next logical steps are going to take.
Yeah. Well, according to what I read in the paper, today is arraignment, which means that Ray will be given the opportunity to plead to the charges, and a trial date will be set unless he waives his right to a speedy trial.
There was a little bit of a conversation about that, and so I maybe we'll talk about the speedy trial thing here in a second and figure out what might be best for the voters and supporters of Ray Tenorio and his campaign. Now, will he be arraigned? Does he get to say I'm completely innocent of all charges, or can he say I'm guilty this, guilty that, but innocent that? Can he pick and choose from the different charges that have been raised against him?
He could do that, yes.
Or he could just say, I'm innocent of everything, or I'm guilty of everything.
He could do that.
So there's a little bit of a picking and choosing. Now, from the perspective of somebody that just an observer like myself, obviously I have no skin in the game, is now what would be best in your mind on the speedy trial thing? Should he waive his right to a speedy trial? And speedy trial, it's kind of a relative phrase, isn't it?
Well, there are actually two different kinds of speedy trials. The Fifth Amendment tells us that anyone charged with a crime is entitled to a speedy trial. So speedy trial there is a creature of case law, and like so many other things that are creatures of case law, it's not an easy thing to explain. We also have a statutory speedy trial, which my memory tells me was 45 days, but the newspaper account that I read said 60 days, and that's a hard and fast deadline.
Yeah.
The running of the speedy trial clock, though, can be tolled, T-O-L-L-E-D, tolled, if the defendant files motions, because obviously it takes time for the court to hear and decide a motion. And I would suspect that Ray Tenorio's lawyer will be filing motions in this case.
Well, the first motion I'd file is for dismissal.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it would be the first step I take. Is like whenever I'm at the airport counter, regardless of whether I'm flying first class or not, and most of the time I'm not, I'll ask, hey, are there any upgrades available? And because every once in a while they'll say, yeah, you know what, there is a spot over on 1F. You want that? Yeah, you can have that. I won't tell anybody. So that would be the first step is to dismiss it. Would he need to necessarily provide grounds to dismiss the case? Obviously he should, right?
Yes. The motion would be made. The motion would be supported by a memorandum and potentially affidavits or declarations challenging the charges.
Mm-hmm.
There's in criminal cases the defendant also has a right to certain kinds of discovery. So there may be discovery motions also filed.
Right. I'd like to hear the transcripts. I'd like to hear the recordings of the depositions that were given by members of the Guam Police Department and others that might have been in a position to witness.
And then there's a rule called the Brady Rule, which goes back to a case called Brady versus Maryland that was decided over 50 years ago. That says that the prosecution has a duty to provide to the defendant all exculpatory evidence in the prosecutor's possession. So sometimes the discovery is aimed at showing that the prosecutor didn't comply with his Brady responsibility and perhaps make a motion to dismiss based on that.
Just on that. 7:40 in the morning. Just going through some of the legal steps for those of us. Most of us get the arraignment part after it's all done and after the a defendant has declared guilt or innocence in a case. And in this particular case, I wanted to see what the possibilities would be if you were Ray Tenorio's defense lawyer. What steps you would take in this arraignment, and maybe a kind of a what order are things going to happen? If you were the prosecutor, what are your responsibilities?
Very few. The prosecutor is there to if bail if release is a condition, the prosecutor's responsibility is to ask for the conditions of release. I don't think that's going to happen here. But
a misdemeanor case?
I beg your pardon?
It's a misdemeanor. They wouldn't keep him overnight on a misdemeanor, would they?
Well, it's theoretically possible, and that's why I'm saying that the prosecutor's responsibility here would be somewhere between slim and none.
Yeah.
I don't think the lieutenant governor is a flight risk.
Yeah, right. So tactically, if you were the lieutenant governor, and here we've got this case, and you've got an opportunity to waive the speedy trial, and it doesn't make that much difference, even if we stay inside that statutory limitation. It still means that nothing's going to happen until after the general election. So does that would that suit you as a gubernatorial candidate here, or do you suppose not seeing this case go to trial is going to make it a blemish all the way up to the general election, which is less than 60 days away?
That's the way I would see it. Yeah, it's just something that hangs over the candidacy and keeps prompting the re-asking of the same old questions.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have one standard of laws or two? Does someone who grabs a cop's gun and shows such poor judgment, is he suitable to be the governor of Guam? I opined earlier on Tall Tales that something that he might want to consider is if he could persuade the prosecutor into it to plead to some lesser charge, one of the lesser charges, or perhaps a lesser included charge, to plead and start another round of apologies, which he demonstrated a high level of skill on right after the Glock party.
Right. To what degree can those be used? I've asked this question before, but people keep bringing it up. To what degree can we use the videotapes, which I believe were all subpoenaed, right? The attorney, the prosecuting attorney, had asked all of the media for all of their copies of all of that stuff. So, but to what degree can that be used as evidence in the case?
To a high degree, because they are public admissions of the defendant. And they could be used as either substantive evidence, or if the defendant were to testify himself, they could be used as impeachment evidence, meaning that if he were to testify himself and said something that was inconsistent with one of the interviews, then the prosecutor could say, but you point out that, in this interview you said something different. And the implication is, were you lying then, or are you lying now?
Right. Huh. How do I want to frame this particular question? And maybe it's more of an opinion then. Because of the timing here. If this case goes to trial, as we have both suggested here, then what's going to happen is there will be the cloud over the entire Botha campaign that will take it through the next 33 or so days away from now and the general election, and then beyond that. And it would maybe be the tactically prudent thing, with no other response and no other utterances at the arraignment, just say guilty. What kind of sentence, what kind of penalty could be handed down here for these misdemeanors?
The likelihood of any jail time is somewhere between slim and none. Misdemeanors usually carry penalties of less than a year. I don't remember, there may be statutory penalties or express penalties for the crimes that Tenorio allegedly violated. But it's very unusual for a defendant to plead at this stage of the proceedings. What ordinarily happens is the defendant enters a not guilty plea, begins his negotiation with the prosecutor, and when they arrive at an agreement, the defendant makes a motion to amend his plea and then pleads guilty in accordance with the bargained plea.
Yeah, and then it would end. We're finished. So give me whatever sentence it is, and if I got to pay a fine, then I'll pay a fine. If I got to do overnight at the lockup in Agani, okay, I'll do an overnight. I'll do PSAs. I'll do gun safety PSAs because I'm so concerned about.
If I might turn on the sarcasm light for.
I thought I already had it on. I thought the sarcasm light had already been lit. It's you can see it from space, Bob. It's that bright.
Yeah, I know. So a lady named Tenorio was accused of witness tampering here not so long ago, and when she got to court, she was able to plead it down to a traffic violation.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. So, perhaps following that line of thought, perhaps Ray Tenorio could plead down his least serious charge to something like disturbing the peace.
Right?
Now, of course, the public, the prosecutor doesn't operate in a vacuum here either, because if the public is dissatisfied, then in a sense the prosecutor goes on trial. He's not elected by the people, but like all of us, we like to have people think that we're doing a good job, right?
Generally.
So if the prosecutor appears to have been influenced by the fact that the defendant in this case is high profile and therefore gives him a pass, there would be something, I think, resembling not public outrage, but certainly great public dissatisfaction.
Just short of lynch mob, huh?
I don't think we'd see pitchforks and torches, but I would suspect that even the Daily News would weigh in with mild criticism on that one.
7:56. It's always fun talking with you, Bob. We'll see what happens today, and keep track, kids, of everything that Bob said. And when we go into the tall tales, let's see how much of what he said might happen turns out to be what exactly happened, or what the differences were in the setup over at the court. You going to try to make that?
I don't think so, Ray. There really won't be that much to see. I'll, of course, catch the evening news and the paper tomorrow.
We'll see what Kevin's going to say.
Yeah, perhaps try to provide a little bit.
Now, Kevin's saying Facebook Live. You think? Okay. Unless somebody prohibits it, and I haven't heard anybody talking about prohibiting it. They said, if you think you might know how to do the technology, then go for it. Might not have great sound, might not have the most incredible picture. It might be bouncing around a little bit, but it's eyes in the courtroom, and I think that helps. I'll be listening this afternoon, Bob. I think it's going to be a great show, just like they all are.
Of course. Thank you, Ray.
You can tell it's a great show because he's getting more advertising in there. Yeah, he's got guys. He's got Renee and the Guam hearing doctors in there, and who's the other one?
Stanford Technology Group specifically requested Bob. They said they won't advertise on Ray's show.
Gibson.
They want Bob.
Put that money with the guy with the mustache. We like him. The Every Other Day diet. I got time to tell you about this story. If you want to lose weight without giving up your favorite foods, please consider the Every Other Day diet. Now, I got this printed up, and it's underscored, which leads me to believe that there is a link that you can go to. So Google Every Other Day diet. It's essentially a diet you only have to do every other day. On diet days, you eat clean and you eat small. 500 calories. You are maxed at 500 calories.
Right.
That's like a candy bar and a beer. Mm-hmm. Okay? Eat anything you want and as much as you want the next day. So you've starved yourself essentially, and 500 calories. You're taking in 500 calories. How many calories are you using just being alive? Right. Yeah, right. So you're already in a negative there, and then the next day you can binge on whatever it is that you want to binge on, and most of the time. And dieters know this, is once you start eating clean, your body will crave more clean food. So, right. If you get into fruits and nuts and vegetables and beans and things like that, your body will naturally stop craving for, fast food and processed foods.
And not to mention, but by taking part in the fasting portion of this diet, you actually start to engineer your body to take in less food.
I've noticed that. Yeah. So I use a kind of a fast, between running a lot and running off at the mouth a lot. Among the other things that I do is I generally don't eat breakfast. Very rarely eat a lunch, and so it gets to be dinner time, and then I start just kind of pecking at things and saying, okay, Wendy's salad that can last me 2 days. There's just I only eat it. It doesn't, but it could if I was just pecking at it the way I peck at most things. 888-8255 is the telephone number of the radio station. Our call signs, KUSG-FM. This is KUSG Agana and 93.3 FM. Good morning, Yuka. Nice to see you there on the Facebook Live. And there is another way to enjoy the program live. It's YouTube Live. That's right. We're pushing the envelope on technology. We discovered the technology that is able to take video and put it on the website, video and able to put it on Facebook Live, and now video on YouTube Live. We'll tell you details in the next hour.
The battle wears on. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. Democrats and Republicans continue to argue over the confirmation vote for Judge Brett Kavanaugh. Fox's Jared Halpern live on Capitol Hill.
A vote on Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh has not yet been scheduled, but Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell says it will happen, and soon.
What I can tell you with certainty is we'll have an FBI report this week, and we'll have a vote this week.
The FBI is expected to finish a background check in the sexual misconduct accusations against Kavanaugh this week. McConnell says the results will be available to all senators. Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says
there ought to be adequate time for people to review the report before they're called on to vote.
Republican leaders accuse Democrats of moving the goalposts to delay confirmation. Lisa.
Jared, this afternoon, President Trump again saying he supports Kavanaugh, but is keeping an open mind.
A lot is going to depend on what comes back from the FBI in terms of their additional number 7 investigation. But I think that Judge Kavanaugh is doing very well right now.
The president saying the FBI is working very hard on its investigation. An attorney for President Trump, Charles Harder, slamming a New York Times report which alleges the president and his siblings committed fraud and tax evasion to boost money they received from their parents.
He says the New York Times allegations of fraud and tax evasion are 100% false and highly defamatory. There was no fraud or tax evasion by anyone. The facts upon which the Times bases its false allegations are extremely inaccurate. All estate matters were handled by licensed attorneys, licensed CPAs, and licensed real estate appraisers who followed all laws and rules strictly.
Fox's Kevin Corke at the White House. The New York State Tax Department says they're reviewing the allegations. Fox News, fair and balanced.
There's a reason every day a Guam homeowner is getting a solar system installed by Micronesia Renewable Energy. It's because MRE is the most trusted name in solar. With more solar energy solutions than any other solar company on island, homeowners have a choice to go solar for zero money down or take the path to ownership. Whichever way, it keeps our skies blue and your pockets green. And with the most experienced solar technicians and an energy production guarantee, there are no worries. Call 632-2613 for a free consultation. MRE, the smarter choice.
Calvo started with a simple handshake. As we celebrate 80 years, we extend a hand to all of you who have taken our hand in trust, to the dreamers and realists, the families, the businesses, the young at heart and the old souls, our manumku and our children. From all of us to all of you, our deepest, happiest, and infinite thanks.
80 years here for you. 80 years thanks to you. Calvo's Insurance, a legacy of trust.
Hundreds of guns stolen from a delivery facility in Tennessee recovered near Chicago.
The guns were stolen from a UPS facility in Memphis on Sunday, according to the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. A spokesman says the estimated 400 weapons taken made this one of the biggest single gun thefts to be investigated by the agency. 2 men were suspected in the case, but only one, an unidentified 18-year-old, is in custody. ATF Chicago tweeted that a reward of up to $5,000 is being offered for information on the whereabouts of the second suspect and anyone else who may be connected to the crime. UPS says it is helping with the investigation. Gernal Scott, Fox News.
Now, the food chain cutting down on the use of plastic straws.
Recently, many major companies in several American cities making a vow to ditch plastic straws, and now Red Lobster is following suit, with the seafood restaurant chain saying starting next month it will no longer automatically give them out to customers. If diners want them, they will have to ask. By the end of 2020, Red Lobster will start replacing plastic straws with an eco-friendly alternative. Red Lobster estimates that the change will eliminate 150 million plastic straws per year from its more than 700 restaurants, and says the new policy is a meaningful step in the company's commitment to preserving the world's oceans and marine life. Hillary Barsky, Fox News.
The real woman who inspired the 1958 Buddy Holly song Peggy Sue has died.
Peggy Sue, Peggy Sue.
Peggy Sue Guerin Rackham went to high school with Holly and his friends. The song was originally called Cindy Lou, but Holly changed it at drummer Jerry Allison's request to impress her. They ended up getting married. The couple later divorced. Holly died in a plane crash in 1959 that also killed Richie Valens in the Big Bopper. Peggy Sue was 78. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Here at APL, our core values give the company its heart and soul. Whether it's connecting your business with our global network through our newly enhanced service or investing our efforts into giving back to the community, APL is committed to serving you. We humbly honor the opportunity to find innovative solutions for you and your business. To learn more about our enhanced service, call 588-4651 or visit www.apl.com/Guam for more details.
UFC 229 on Sunday, October 7th. The notorious Conor McGregor returns to retake the UFC lightweight title from unbeaten champion Khabib Nurmagomedov in the main event of UFC 229. Pre-show starts at 10 a.m. and the fight starts at noon. Use your remote or call 688-CARE to order this pay-per-view event on Channel 401 or in HD on Channel 402. UFC 229 on Docomo Pacific is brought to you by TGI Fridays.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, Prime Loco Moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
We're surrounded by sound. There are sounds that you need to hear. There are sounds that you want to hear. And there are sounds that you long to hear.
I love you.
Hear it all, louder and clearer than ever before. If you or someone you know has a hard time hearing, Guam Hearing Doctors can help using state-of-the-art test gear to evaluate your hearing and coming up with a plan to make your life better by making your hearing better. Call Guam Hearing Doctors for an appointment or visit them on the web at guamhearingdoctors.com.
Family Finance, serving the people of Guam since 1959. Now you can start planning for the holidays by getting a personal Christmas loan from $1,000 up to $3,500. Family Finance has 3 convenient locations to serve you. Give them a call in Dededo, 633-4473, Hagåtña, 475-4545, and the Upper Tumon location on the 2nd floor of the Pacific Building at 647-5626. Get your Christmas loans today from Family Finance.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. News time here at The Point is 8 minutes past 8 a.m. this Wednesday morning. I'm Kevin Kerrigan. Here's a look now at some of the top stories from the Guam Daily Post. Ovida Nauta, a former civilian employee of the Guam Police Department, has been given a 1-year suspended sentence and ordered to pay $7,600 in restitution. Nauta pleaded guilty in February to official misconduct and issuing dishonored checks while she was at the police department. She is currently employed at the Department of Corrections. DOC Director Tony Lamarena said she is not subject to any disciplinary action at DOC for the events that occurred 3 and 4 years ago when she worked at the Guam Police Department. He said that the court has imposed its punishment and Nauta has been doing an outstanding job at DOC. Guam Animals in Need is offering a $1,000 reward for information leading to the arrest or grand jury indictment of the person who killed a pet dog named Pugwa. The dog was discovered near his Jigo home, according to GAIN. A neighbor heard distressed howls around 11 a.m. last Thursday morning. The dog's body was found shot, possibly beaten in the carport of a family friend who'd been caring for the dog during the day. A bloody shovel was found nearby. GAIN board president Cyrus Lur said the reward money came from an anonymous donor. According to GAIN, the dog's death was one of 4 recent attacks on pets in the same neighborhood located near the Jigo mayor's office. We'll have more news after this.
Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler. Just stop into any Circle K, sign up for our Power Pass rewards program, and after your purchase of 15 cups of premium coffee, any size, you get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details. Get a 20-ounce stainless steel Circle K Coffee Club tumbler Just swipe your PowerPass key fob when you purchase Circle K Premium Coffee, any size. And after 15 cups, you'll get your tumbler for free. While supplies last, conditions apply. See store for details.
The Westin Resort Guam is excited to announce the return of Hansik at Taste. Experience the elegance of Korean cuisine throughout the years, infused with a modern Chinese twist. Their guest chefs from Korea will take you on an extraordinary culinary voyage. $36 for adults and $18 for children 6 to 11. From October 8th to the 13th. Come and enjoy the taste of Hansik Korean lunch buffet from 11:30 to 2:30 at Taste. Call the Westin Guam Resort for reservations at 647-1020.
10 minutes past 8 a.m. here at The Point. President Donald Trump has approved a major disaster declaration request submitted by Governor Eddie Calvo to help pay for the damage done by Typhoon Mangkhut as it passed over the Mariana Islands on September 10th. The declaration means various GovGuam agencies and nonprofit organizations on island are now eligible to receive financial assistance. However, the governor's request for individual assistance for private homeowners is still under review. Families whose homes were damaged are not yet eligible to apply for federal aid. In a release, Calvo said the declaration will provide federal assistance to supplement local recovery efforts, especially for the island's critical infrastructure. And even though federal aid for individuals and households has not yet been approved, the governor said he looks forward to a favorable decision from President Trump. The sailor whose body was recovered in the waters off Guam on Saturday has been identified as Petty Officer 3rd Class Zahir Hakim. The 20-year-old Hakim was from Arizona. He had just completed his second year in the Navy. He was among 4,000 sailors from the USS Ronald Reagan who were given shore leave last week after the aircraft carrier docked at Naval Base Guam following the conclusion of the military exercise Valiant Shield. On Friday, as a tropical storm approached the island, Hakim was swept away while swimming with 2 other sailors at Haputo Beach in Dededo. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post. Ray and Mike now talking some weather.
It's going to be hot, but it's not going to be as hot as yesterday. About 89 degrees is what we've got forecast for you tonight. 77, 78 degrees on the overnight, and generally the same kind of day that we've had in the last couple of days. Maybe some afternoon showers, thunderstorms, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. As we got an upper level low tracking over us, and we can't see on satellite, but I'm looking at it right now, and yeah, it's real busy on the east side of this upper level low, and it's moving across. So later on this afternoon and into tonight, pretty much an enhanced chance of some thunderstorms, and some of them could get pretty nasty too, because with these upper level low pressure systems, the clouds really reach high up into the atmosphere. So you get a lot of that vivid lightning and very big raindrops, and that should all blow through by tonight and make the rest of the week look pretty good.
Big drops. Big drops. Those are the ones. My favorite ones are where you get the big drops that are falling, and you can kind of walk between them.
Yeah.
You get that feeling like, if I did this right, I could actually walk all the way to the car and not get wet. And the chances are very good that you might be able to do that. Of course, when they start coming in heavy, that's all bets are off. 8:13. That's news and weather together here on The Point.
For more than 40 years, we've earned your trust, caring for our island's health, quality care and access to health solutions you deserve. Take care, our island, your health plan. Take care, health solutions that you deserve. Take care, peace of mind to comfort you. Take care, take care, take care.
Currently 8:13 in the morning, and portions of the program brought to you by my friends over at King's. 35, 40, 100 years they've been feeding us here on Guam, including, and they know what our favorites are. So Monday, Salisbury steak. Tuesday, beefsteak. Tomorrow. Today is pork sinigang. Tomorrow is meatloaf. Where's that picture of the meatloaf baby? Somebody hook me up with that. Have you seen that? All right, and then, of course, Friday is Beef Tanak. On Saturday and Sunday, you're on your own. But may I suggest, when you go there on Saturday and Sunday, Sunday, obviously, breakfast, right? But you can have fried chicken if you want to on Sunday. But if you're going on Saturday, it's light and refreshing. They do a club sandwich there.
Oh, nice.
Right?
Yeah.
There's something about eating a sandwich that's cut that way on purpose,
And it's healthy, too, because it's got meat and veggies and bread.
Right. So, I mean, how bad is it's like cold pizza? You ever think about that? You ever look at a pizza? They should have pizza at King's. Well, I'm thinking about this. You know where they have it? Chuck E. Cheese, family corporation, right? So if you want something that's got the King's seal of approval, but pizza, you go over to Chuck E. Cheese and get the pizza there. But I was thinking about pizza, and one night I left it out overnight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I woke up the next morning, and I was really, really what's the word I'm looking for? Hungover? No, hungry. It's a different something. Yeah. So I was hungry, and I looked at the pizza box, and I said, "Drat! I'd left it out all night." But then it occurred to me, wait a second. Most of it, this is bread. The thing on the bottom is bread, right?
Yeah.
You can leave bread out.
Yeah.
It's not going to get bad. And then you got the tomato sauce, which is tomatoes. You can leave tomato out, and it's not going to go bad. And you got cheese, and cheese is already a product. It got to be cheese because somebody left it out.
That's right.
And salamis. Right? The pepperonis, which, again, same concept. It's meat that somebody left out, and so I figured this is all still good to eat. And so I did.
Nice. You know how to make it
in the hospital.
You know how to avoid that? Whenever you heat up a piece of pizza that you've left out overnight, put a cup of water in there in the microwave with it, and it will hydrate the stuff that and it's just like you had it delivered.
I know exactly what you're talking about. 8:15 in the morning. So that was a long commercial for Kings. Be right back and do short commercials for everybody else.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
Portions of the program also brought to you by Security Title. Yes, when you absolutely need confidentiality in your real estate transactions, remember they can keep a secret. American President Lines, APL is shipping the future. Micronesia Renewable Energy, the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. No, I'm kidding. I know what they do over there. Never been a better time to go solar. GRMC is the first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. And American Water Tech, smarter water, better water. And a reminder from my friends over at AK Lexus, the new ES350 is here. 2019 ES350 is here. This is the car that you want to be driving. This is the car that you want to be seen in. This is the car that you want to accessorize your life. I mean, I know among Lexus people, it's not just transportation. It's not just a means to haul things back and forth and take kids to car line and soccer practice. The ES350, especially the ES350, could be considered an accessory. So accessorize at AK Lexus today.
The Ray Gibson Show. News to fill your mind. Talk to get it out. Turn it up. Now tell a friend.
I got 817. Hi, Ray Gibson and The Point 93.3. Kevin's got headlines coming up, and Mike gets the phone. And actually, Mike's making a phone because I wanted to talk with my very close friend, personal friend, Manny Hitchinova from the Guam Running Club. But in the meantime, I've got Blake in the studio. How you doing there, Blake? I'm good. Is it good? Like, we got to turn on. Wait, Mikey. Got to turn the bearded one's microphone on. Otherwise, nobody can see him. You can hear him, but it's not good. It's got to do that.
It's like I'm in the back seat of a car going down the road, when the mic's not on.
Yeah, I know it.
Faintly hear it.
Yeah, it's just like I know he's there. So today a milestone on our broadcast technology. We're obviously on the air at 93.3, and that's number one. And we've got the Facebook Live, and we've got the point.gu, and we have added another screen potential for our viewers, and that is YouTube Live.
Oh,
yes,
YouTube Live is nice.
The thing is cranking right now. So
Nice.
so here's what you just go to.
That's how I consume some podcasts, believe it or not.
I know a lot of people that consume a lot of their media that days, and frankly, a lot of younger people are hanging out on YouTube as well. Just from the coolness and the hip factor of being able to find virtually everything on YouTube. Remember that day last week we were talking about ducks, and somebody found me an hour of ducks, just ducks quacking.
That's it.
That's it.
I needed to change a brake light last week, and I YouTubed it on how to pop
change
out.
it?
Yeah,
That's
how
what
to
we
pop
should.
out the
You remember
light.
when we were talking yesterday about those the new fangled toilets with the push buttons
Right.
instead of the handle? Right. So maybe the next time one of those things goes south. That's where you go to check it. Actually, I learned a lot about that from my buddy Manny Hitchinova, and I can't remember what it was. We were trying to set something up somewhere, and neither one of us could sort out the instructions. And I think it was Manny that said, "Let's see if it's on YouTube." And sure enough, it was. Hey, dude, how you doing?
What's up, Brother Ray?
Boy, this man. Anybody that runs in a Guam Running Club race probably hears Manny go hoik a whole bunch of times, and that's just to try to get everybody's attention. Hey, we're going to start the run. These are the instructions. This is what we want you to do for safety, and this is what it's going to be when you get back. But some interesting things that are going on with the running club in the next little bit. There's a story in I believe the Post that's talking about there's not going to be a Coco half marathon. That's been confirmed now, huh?
Yes, it is. And it's unfortunate, but we understand the challenges, and we understand GVB had a hard decision in this, and it's a long-standing race. And as a distance runner, it's hard to see a race like that not be held. We don't have that many half marathons.
Right. Yeah, and there are not that many 10Ks when you stop and think about it. A lot of people like to do 2Ks, 5Ks, but once you've done those distances, or you're ready for another adventure, it's nice to know when the next big 10Ks are going to be coming up, and then you just continue the progression until you get to the half marathons and the full marathons. We got a couple of big, there's a couple of big marathons. The Guam Running Club has its own marathon. There's the Guam International Marathon that has been pursued by GVB and the race organizers as well as United over the years. And then you've got the Hoffa Marathon, which is I'm sorry, not the Hoffa Marathon, the Hoffa Marathon, half marathon that has been a staple for the running community for how many years?
Wow, this is going to be our 48th year running.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
Right.
That's a long time.
That's forever. And there's still some old guys that
have done all of
them, that go back to the very beginnings of the Guam Running Club and this Hoffa Marathon. And so when is it going to be?
It'll be February 16th next year, 2019, and we're proud to bring on board a Guam Visitor Bureau, and they're going to help us sponsor this event. And normally it's a very local run for us. We have some members, non-members. We draw about maybe 250 runners just to go from Anderson up and Jigo, head down through Tulivers Point, and head down back to Epau Beach. But with our sponsorship with GVB, they're bringing along that event expertise, recruiting expertise from Japan, and we're expecting at least 200, 250 international runners to join us. So
that's interesting.
Big race. It'll be a big race for us, and we're going to have a lot of fun mixing local runners with international runners, and it always makes the local runners up their game a little bit. So this gives us a little bit of a chance to put that extra bit of training in there. We don't want that lady in the old Japanese lady in those CX pants just passing us at mile 10.
Well, wait a second, but that means there's another opportunity for Kenta to fly out from Japan.
Oh, sure. And you know what? And that's GVB's whole point. They want to make more Kentas. And for those you don't know, Kenta's a really good friend of ours from Sapporo, Japan. And he's just adopted Guam as a second home, and he just loves it here, and he comes for whatever races he can. And so what we'd like to do, and GVB's point is we'd just like to make more Kentas, bring more international runners from Japan to say, you know what, this is a great running destination. We have a lot of great runs here, and even if it's just for a 5K, one of our bigger 5Ks, come on in, have some fun, and make some good friends with some local runners.
Yeah, and it's not a terrible course. It's not my favorite one in the whole wide world. A lot of people will say, oh, half a marathon. That's it's mostly downhill. It's mostly downhill once you get to Dededo. Once you get, but there's a couple of rollers in between the front gate of Anderson Air Force Base and Dededo, and there's a couple that will get your attention if you're not doing a negative split. If you're trying to get out there and hit it as fast as you possibly can. The deal is, enjoy that first hour because you're going to be up in Jigo, and yeah, you get up to a hill and you go, wow, I still haven't passed Prestige. Where's the hardware store? I need to get past that. How much further is all of that? So it's different from driving. Now I'll just say it like that. So if GVB is going to take part in doing the promotions as well, right?
Promotions in Japan and helping us here locally with logistics and course safety. Usually I get pretty scared having so many runners on the road, and start yelling at cars and people just to stay on the course.
Yeah.
But they're going to throw, we've got great support from the mayor's offices as well, but they're throwing some additional support just to make sure that it's just a safe event for that many runners.
Well, I'm looking forward to it, February the 16th, and people say, well, how do you train for something like this? And if you were a member of the elite class, you probably ran 13 miles just because it was Sunday, right? That might be part of your training. And there's enough time, believe it or not, for even newbies to do something like this. So go and Google Couch to 5K, and you can take this up to Couch to half marathon if you want to, and it will give you all of the information that you need to safely progress to a point where you can start basically on the couch, being a couch potato, and work your way into running a full half marathon. You might not come in first, you might not beat Ryan Matienzo, but frankly, at the half marathon level, it's just finishing that feels good.
Yes. And, we want to encourage people that if you want to, and you just find a group of people at a 5K who'd be interested to run with you, and do it in a group. Runner safety is still paramount for us. And so for these longer training runs, we always encourage people to run with somebody else, just to keep that safety factor. And it's a great encouragement for people to say, if they're accountable to somebody else, say, I got to show up. My friend's waiting for me at 5 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. PIC, 5 o'clock every Sunday morning. And there you might also find a crew waiting for you in the good parking over at the flea market.
Oh, yes.
Right around the same. That way, when you're done, you can go buy Tahoe when you're all finished.
And barbecue sticks.
Barbecue sticks and vegetables. 8:25 in the morning. Manette, it's always good talking with you. See you soon.
Thank you. Thanks, Brother Ray. See you later.
No, happy to talk about it. Is it bad? Good news, bad news is there's not going to be a Cocoa Road race this year. The good news is GVB is getting behind the Hoffa Marathon that's going to be taking place in February of next year. But you found their website. They left the website up, right?
Yeah. So GuamCocoRoadRace.com. I actually went to confirm the cancellation or the postponement, I guess, rather, of the of this year's Cocoa Half Marathon. And when I found there was actually everything that he was talking about. It's got it all right here. Guam Running Club's 48th Half Marathon, scheduled for February 16th. 2019. And also it says this, the Guam Cocoa Kids Fun Run has also been rescheduled to March 23rd, 2019, and will include a new Striders Kids Bike Edition.
Oy.
So 4 to 12 age kids can ride their bikes instead of run if they want.
All right. Well,
so, that's good.
So that's a big deal in my mind for sports because, runner guy. What do you got? We still haven't done? It's time for Sports with Blake.
So I did not know, and I guess last year the first 6 people were inducted, but the Athletic Hall of Fame for University of Guam, I didn't know that they had one.
Hey, let's make a building.
You want to make like a hall?
Yeah.
Like an actual Hall of Fame?
Robert Underwood Hall of Fame.
9 former UOG athletes will be inducted at the Athletic Hall of Fame on October 28th at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. Last year, the first 6 were inducted. I have the names here. John Borden was inducted for football. Susan Lupola for basketball. Tommy Morrison for baseball. Halhat Diambra Odie for soccer, Ronald Camacho for football, and Teresa Sisson for basketball. This year's inductees include Art Rabone for football, Lawrence Johnson for football, Tony Thompson for basketball, Joe Titano for basketball, Susie Rechibong?
Yes.
Rechibong? Okay.
Yep.
For basketball.
You have to say it with a plowing tongue.
Susie Borden for basketball, David Nelson for baseball, David Zims for baseball, and James Whippy for soccer. So there you go. It's going to all culminate, like I said, on the 28th at the Fieldhouse. Ceremony will feature a reception that begins at noon. There's going to be a game between the UOG Tritons and the Anderson Bombers, and then each inductee will be given 10 minutes to speak at halftime.
You said wrecking bong. I got sad for a moment.
Some people say Rechibong.
Rechibong.
Yes.
Okay. Rechibong.
Yep.
Susie Rechibong. Also, there's a note here that says if you know any members of the Lawrence Johnson family, to please contact Doug Palmer, the athletic director over at UOG. I guess maybe they're trying to track down the family so that they can let them know that they're going to be honored. But yeah, that's really cool, and I didn't even know it existed. So cool thing that UOG is doing. And elsewhere in UOG news, this week, Thursday, the community is invited to the UOG Triton Night sports event at the UOG Calvo Fieldhouse. It will be the debut for the first time with the playoffs. The women's UOG women's volleyball team for UOG, the University of Guam, will make their debut. Match begins at 6:30 p.m. Doors open at 5:30.
And Strides for the Cure 2K 5K Run Dash Walk is going to be at the Chamorro Village Festival Hut Saturday morning. Showtime 5:15. Go time is at 6 o'clock right after they do the big Zumba rally over there. One of these, I'm going to stop fighting it. I'm just going to stop fighting it.
The Zumba rally?
Yeah, well, because there's some people that when they do workouts, they do regular calisthenics. I mean, it's stuff you know, right? And then sometimes we had a really, really good one on the Sunday run this week. It was like body pump.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it was, I mean, it was stuff that you knew, but it was set really, really well to music. You know, and the timing was great. But then a lot of times they bring out Zumba people, which is great if you know Zumba, if you know all the Zumba moves. I don't know any of the Zumba moves. And so I just get out there and I shake my butt.
They have nice pants, though. They have those nice Zumba pants.
Nice Zumba pants. You know, so it's one of those things. I know. Now, Mike's a big Zumba guy. He spends a lot of time over at the mall on the big Zumba nights.
Actually, they're not allowed to do that anymore.
No, I'm sorry.
They noticed you.
Yeah, this guy's got a real lecherous look at his face. He only comes to the mall when there's Zumba going on, huh?
I'm not sure if it was the staring or the drooling.
That's both of it.
Yeah. By the way, Guam Major League Baseball, they tried to get a game in last night again. The field was not in good condition. I have not heard. Brad or Mark, if you're listening, chime in. Let us know when they've rescheduled that. But we're still trying to get to the end of their World Series.
I'm looking to see if they put anything up on the. No, nothing.
I didn't notice anything.
Yeah, it just said tonight's game has been called off by the commissioner due to bad field conditions. Game 5 Friday. There you go.
Oh, Friday. Okay, good.
All right. So that's the splains on that. So maybe they might be able to get out of the possibility now is that somebody could win. Anybody but the Rays could win on game number 5 and then start basically over again. Have another game.
And it really looks like Friday they'll get this game in. I think today really our best chance of rain for the next several days. So we'll get the rain today out of the way, then Thursday a nice dry day, all day Friday, maybe a nice dry day, get out on the field Friday, and play another game. I'm not going to say get the series over because, maybe the Orioles will win and they'll continue, but at least we'll get to get deeper into the series.
Yes. Kevin, what do you think?
I don't.
Kevin's like, I need to get out of here so I can prep for the afternoon over at the courthouse. All right, well, we'll do that.
I was just going to say this, just an interesting baseball note since we're talking about the Orioles because it has a personal tie. A friend of mine, well, he's not really a friend. This guy dated a friend of mine.
Oh, okay.
But Chris Davis, who plays for the Major League Baseball Orioles in Baltimore, finished the season, Mike Knight, the worst batting average in the history of baseball, .168. And this, Ray, I wanted to bring it to your attention after he signed a 7-year, $161 million contract. He has been shut down this week as the final week of the season rolls down, not because of injury, but because he's so terrible this year. They're hoping he bounces back next year.
I would say so.
My personal friend, Chris Davis. Sorry that he made that kind of history.
A personal friend.
Yeah.
8:32 in the morning. All right, that's Blake Watson. He's going to go finish the morning show over on Star 101. And we've got Kevin Kerrigan with headlines. And I'm going to take another look at traffic here in just a sec.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
Look at me, Mommy, I'm breakdancing. 888-8255 is the phone number around here. 988-5874 for the WhatsApps this morning. And what? All of a sudden, the memes are silent. Today is the day at the court, the arraignment at the court. You'd think there'd be more by way of memes. I know that there were a couple that were floating around yesterday, but I'm looking to see if anybody is doing the creative work here this morning. If for no other reason, my own personal entertainment and enjoyment. It is time right now for your entertainment and enjoyment. Look at news from the Guam Daily Post. Their managing editor, Kevin Kerrigan.
Half a day and good morning, Guam. And the headlines from the Daily Post this morning: Sherilyn Brewer, described in court documents as having been involved in street-level drug trafficking, has been arrested and charged. Following up on a tip, the Mondaña Drug Task Force located Brewer on September 25th in a car parked near a government housing area. When Brewer was asked to step out of the vehicle, she was seen clutching something under her jacket. Then, the court record states, she began to cry and handed the officer a small pouch containing 2 ounces of suspected methamphetamine. Brewer wasn't arrested at that time because she told officers she'd help identify her supplier. However, later she refused to cooperate, so Brewer was arrested this past Monday, charged with possession of a Schedule II controlled substance with intent to deliver. A motorcyclist was in stable condition at Guam Memorial Hospital yesterday afternoon after being hit by an SUV in Harmon. The accident happened shortly before 11 a.m. yesterday morning. Guam Police Department spokesman Sergeant Paul Tapau reports the motorcyclist was traveling east on Harmon Industrial Road when the operator of a black Hyundai Santa Fe pulled out of a private driveway next to the Sign King and collided with the motorcycle. Guam Fire spokesman Kevin Riley reported that when GFD medics arrived, the injured motorcyclist was unconscious and unresponsive, but the man was later listed in stable condition at a GMH, said Sergeant Tapau. No arrests or citations in that case. The accident is still under investigation. Guam Regional Medical City will resume urgent care services this Saturday. The hospital suspending the services on Monday due to temporary strategic staffing reassignments to other priority areas. Emergency department services are unaffected by the suspension, said GRMC spokeswoman Cindy Hansen. Any patients coming in for urgent care are still being seen in the emergency department, she said. For these stories and more, log on to postguam.com or pick up a copy of today's Guam Daily Post.
It's 8:35. We'll call that iConnect time because it is 888-8888. Just keep pressing 8 until somebody answers the phone and ask them, if you will, about the incredible deals that you're going to get on push-to-talk mobile and internet plans with the practical choice, iConnect.
Always here to help you. This island is our home. Through the years, we've been a friend to the neighbors we have known. Now we're banking on the future. More services to choose. Bank Pacific, where others put branches, we place roots.
Hot pastrami. No, I'm sorry. Just it's the melodies in my head. Now, Subway's Big Hot Pastrami is back right now. Tender, juicy beef on freshly baked bread. You get a Big Hot Pastrami at your favorite Subway location today. It's so good you won't want to share. For a limited time only. Subway. Make it what you want.
The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts of Guam Training every morning on The Ray Gibson Show.
Yesterday, we began to discuss the winning mindset needed by effective bosses. I'm Jerry Roberts, and at 7:20 a.m. on The Ray Gibson Show, let's talk again about 12 things that good bosses believe.
You can find daily transcripts of The Extra Point by Jerry Roberts at guamtraining.com. Tune in every weekday morning at 7:20 for The Extra Point with Jerry Roberts on The Ray Gibson Show on 93.3 The Point.
There is traffic 8, 10, and 16 in all of the usual directions towards 8, 10, and 16 from Mangilau, from the post office area, and from the other parts of Route 8. Route 8 in Mighty gets seeing a little bit of northbound traffic as well. Don't know why, it just is. In front of the A.B. Wanpat International Airport, there is now the traditional line of people waiting to get past that one light so they can get down to Home Depot or the Airport 76 or Marine Corps Drive in general. And things still a little bit busy in front of our broadcast headquarters here on Marine Corps Drive in Upper Tumon. But other than that, don't see anything that is going to be slowing you down. It's been fantastic getting into Big Navy, and looks like it's been fairly easy getting into Navy Hospital and Anderson Air Force Base. All the big bases are covered. Not bad at all. Way to do a Wednesday morning. Soon to be Wednesday afternoon. And can you imagine what Bob Klitsky's program is going to sound like about 4 o'clock this afternoon? I can only imagine. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Are high power bills sending your budget into chaos? Take control with the help of Micronesia Renewable Energy. Using the highest quality panels, a solar energy system from MRE will guarantee to save you money on power. With MRE, Christmas comes early. With every solar energy system, homeowners not only get $400 for signing up, but also an entry for a chance to win $1,000 in cold, hard cash, just in time for Christmas. It pays to be an MRE customer. Conditions apply. Call 632-2613 for details. MRE, the smarter choice.
In 20 minutes, 9 o'clock in the morning, Raymond Gibson Show until 10 o'clock. And, yeah, I'm getting a couple of notices. There's nothing wrong with your radio. But there's a couple of other folks that are chiming in this morning saying they're having a hard time hearing the off-air feed this morning. I'll go to the transmitter site. I'll kick the thing and see if I can get some more kilowatts out of the thing, and then you can hear me much better. But listen, if you are having a hard time hearing, then this is what you do. We also stream. You can also go to TuneIn.com on the World Wide Web and download the app. And stick it on your phone, or go to the App Store or wherever and download the app and go to TuneIn There's a lot of different ways that we send the signal out from the radio station. A lot of different destinations that it goes to, and so we take great pains to make sure that our on-air stream has got the highest fidelity possible. We're an FM radio station after all, so we send out a very beefy actual stereo stream. I think it's in stereo that we send out to TuneIn. So go to TuneIn.com and just look for KUSG. Shouldn't have too much of a problem finding it. And you can also get us on another platform, another app that I like very, very much. It's Next Radio. NEXTRADIO. And so download it on Next Radio. This is the cool thing about it. If you've got a phone, and there's a variety of Samsung phones out there, blue phones as well, that have got FM receivers in them, what the app does is it says, I'll use the FM radio. But anything else that I send out, any other ways that I accessorize the stream, will have all of those features built into it. And the point is on both of those. And then just Bluetooth it to the car.
There you go.
If you've got, and I think by now everybody has a Bluetooth system that they've got available in the car. Yes, they should be able to use TuneIn and Next Radio on your Apple CarPlay and whatever the Samsung deal is. So that might be a way to get out past it. Alexa is also huge. There's a number of people that listen to this radio station via TuneIn on their Alexas. And Alexa's going to the radios. I had meant to. I'd seen a thing. They've got an Echo Auto that they're going to be putting in. List price $49.99 and just $24.99 with free shipping to gazillions of Amazon Prime members who can ask Alexa to play your station stream or simply ask for a song and hear it without you. No, we want you to ask for the station stream. And I think it's the same way. Just go, if you've got an Alexa system, say, okay, Alexa, play KUSG on TuneIn. And Alexa knows how to get to TuneIn, and KUSG obviously is our call signs for that. So that's a long way of getting around. And just another note here, because I'm really, really excited about this. It's one of those things. I get excited about different ways that we can use technology, and I'm going to make a big deal about it over the next couple of days for a lot of reasons. Number one, because it excites me to an incredible degree, and number two, nobody else is doing it. It's us in the legislature, apparently. Maybe there's a few others out there. But as far as I know, this is the only morning radio show now that is on so many different platforms, right? Got the FM broadcast. I got to kick the HD thing, and I'll do that today. And then what else am I gonna do? Play around with Facebook Live, thepoint.gu, and now YouTube Live. So if you follow me on YouTube, if you pay any attention on YouTube, just subscribe to the channel. And I think it's just something as simple as Ray Gibson, just RAYGIBSON. It's already has all of the shows going back to day number one. That's already there, but now we are live. And if you subscribe, it will send you a notice that I'm on. The same way that if you like me on Facebook, you'll get a note that says I'm on. So it is very, very cool technology, and I love playing around with it, and that's cool. Oh, she's got the guy? She's with the guy already? Oh, that's cool. Jenna Blas from Guam Homeland Security and Civil Defense. Hey, Jenna, how you doing?
Happy day, Ray. How are you?
You know, it's terrific. I was thinking about you yesterday when I heard the all hazards warning rehearsal.
Okay, that's good to hear. You think of me when you hear that.
Well, yeah, it's not that it sounds like your voice. It's just that, you know, you're my primary contact over there, and the name that's generally on most of the paperwork that I get. And so, yeah, I thought of that, and then I remembered an email that you sent out. So, yes, I was thinking about you when it happened. We're not talking happy hours or anything like that. I just was thinking about you. 8:44, and the big news around is that the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, is going to show us some FEMA love and has approved disaster assistance for Guam.
Yes, that's correct. So our office sent out information yesterday along with the Office of the Governor announcing that the Public Assistance and Hazard Mitigation Grant Program has been approved for Guam, and that individual assistance is still under review at this time.
Okay, now I understand that. So when we talk about public assistance, we're talking about generally taking a look at some of the things in our public infrastructure that may have been damaged by the storm, and then getting some kind of compensation for that from the federal government, correct?
Yes, that's correct. So that includes not only government of Guam agencies, but also some eligible private and nonprofit organizations.
How do I? Well, I'm a private organization. I want a new generator. How do I get in it?
That's a big question. Did you suffer damage from the storm? It has to be damage that happened during the incident period.
You know what? If I'm answering truthfully, there's a pre-existing condition that was exacerbated by the storm. How's that?
I'm not sure that qualifies, but you can always check.
Well, you know what? I'd rather if you disqualify me than me disqualifying me. So it's possible I will. I believe I'm speaking to Benigno Ruiz.
No, this is Peter Sessom with FEMA.
Oh, I see. I thought I would be talking with. I wasn't sure who the FEMA guy was going to be. I thought, and there seems to be a couple of different levels of conversation. We've got the federal coordinating officer. That's Benigno Ruiz, correct?
Yes, and he'll be here soon.
Okay, he'll be here soon. And once again, your name is?
Peter Sessom.
And you're with FEMA?
Yes, I'm with FEMA External Affairs.
Okay, I understand. I understand a little bit more. So there's a number of categories and a number of different levels of assistant projects that we might be able to explore. Debris removal, and the mayors have been doing a fantastic job with that. Protective measures, road systems and bridges, water control facilities, public buildings and contents, public utilities, parks and other recreational facilities. So I'm assuming that Jenna and her team and virtually the entire government of Guam has been going out looking for the storm damage that applies in these categories, correct?
Yes, that's correct. And actually, the recovery efforts have already begun. So a lot of especially government of Guam agencies have already begun repairs on their facilities. So what this would do is be able to allow them to receive reimbursements for what they've already done and what they continue to do in recovery from Typhoon Mangkhut.
Are these dollar-for-dollar reimbursements? I mean, if a car got totaled over at DPW as a result of a tree hitting it in the middle of the storm, does FEMA replace the entire vehicle, or will it be just a portion thereof?
So it's a 75-25% cost share, while FEMA will cover 75%, and the government or the nonprofit organizations will cover the other 25%.
I see. Now the government of Guam, last I heard, is broke. Are we going to be able to cough up the 25%? Can we get the 75% on loan until the next Section 30?
I won't be able to speak to government of Guam what their financial situation is, but I do know that recovery has already begun. And, we're grateful that a lot of these agencies have already started that. Guam Power Authority is one example. They had to begin repairs right away. Mm-hmm. So they're looking forward to being reimbursed for what they've already done and what they continue to do.
The interesting conversation, if for no other reason, because this is the first time in a long time that we've done something that feels like simplex communication. Are we on some kind of fancy satellite phone over there?
No, we're not. I'm sorry. I have you on speakerphone on my.
I wasn't sure what the heck was going on. It sounded like the old Motorola MTX 800s. Wait until you hear the beep and then you can talk or something like that. Well, this is all very interesting. What are the chances now that we might be able to get some kind of personal family assistance from the federal government? There are obviously a number of families around here that saw some degree of damages on their homes and personal property. Would sure like to be able to line up and get a deal like the government of Guam, 75%, 25%. What are the chances for that?
Well, like I said, that's still under review, and the speed of this happening for the public assistance is not a reflection on the damage that people suffered. It was just that the government of Guam and agencies like the Guam Power Authority and Waterworks, they had so much data, and overabundance of data, that we were able to quickly make that determination through the public assistance approval. And now that just the individual assistance is just under review.
Right. And any timeline on when that might come through? I mean, obviously, sometimes you don't want it to come through fast. You want people to take long and sober looks at the problems that individuals may have had during Typhoon Mangkhut.
Yes, that's true, and this isn't again. It's not a reflection on the damage of people. We're looking at overall magnitude and severity. So, really, for it to be individual assistance, it has to be such a size and like magnitude and severity that the government of Guam can't or the mayors can't handle themselves. So, we're looking for. Are people underinsured? Is it so many people that it can't be handled locally that federal assistance is needed?
Right, and just one last question: what about migrants? We've got a number of compact migrants here that don't otherwise seem to be eligible for any kind of compensation from anybody, regardless of whether it kicks in or not. Is there another side conversation going on how to deal with them, get them out of a Stumbo gym and into some other kind of even temporary lodging?
So FEMA is just one part of this of what we call a whole community approach. So FEMA there's certain things to be eligible for FEMA assistance, but really we look at other government agencies, nonprofits, faith-based organizations to create a whole community approach to help people recover. So it isn't just there isn't just FEMA assistance that out there that people may be eligible for.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I really appreciate hearing from you. If we get an opportunity, maybe as we get more details on this, and certainly if we get into some kind of a conversation about individual assistance, I think that might be I'd be more inclined to have you in the studio for something like that, and not necessarily on the phone. I get you in the studio. We can play around with Facebook Live and take phone calls from people and all that. But in the meantime, I want to thank you very much for your time this morning. Jenna, you got any press releases going out today?
Stand by. We will continue to monitor, and if we have any new information, we'll put it out.
I sure will. Hey, thanks so much for your time as well. We'll get caught up again soon. 8:51. It's the Ray Gibson Show until at least 10 o'clock in the morning. It's an interesting conversation that has been going on, and I've actually had the conversation with a friend of mine, and generally, sometimes people will come to me and I go, wow, this is a news story, but because we're such good friends or because I've got a strong personal feeling about it, sometimes I don't talk about things on the air. And one of the things that's been playing around a little bit in the media is a story about these dogs that have been shot up in Jigo. And frankly, I have a hard time having the conversation without getting mad. And I know the parents of one of those dogs. And when he told me that he was involved, I mean, I was incensed. I almost to the point where I was seeing red. I just wanted to go, dude, I want to go hang out in your neighborhood and just stare down everybody that looks like they might be a dog shooter.
If I say how I feel about this, it will change people's perceptions of me forever.
Right. I didn't know you used that kind of language. So I'm absolutely, though, delighted that there is another angle on this that I will be able to talk about without getting angry, and it's because that there is a unnamed donor, I'm told, that has fronted about $1,000 worth of a reward for information leading to the arrest of whoever this jughead is that was out shooting dogs. Officer Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department. Good morning, Paul.
Hey, good morning, sir.
So tell me a little bit about the story here. I think there's enough people that know about the shootings up in Dededo or Jigo. I understand that there's a person of interest. Has this person of interest been spoken to yet or found?
So the initial report was actually generated by the Editor Precinct Command. Now, the incident, just to bring everybody up to speed, the incident occurred at the Gordonville Estates, and that's off of the Jigo proper that takes you down, I guess, that stretch of road that connects Route 15 to Route 1.
Yeah.
They're based on the work from the patrol officers, we were able to ascertain information from the reporting person to a slew of witnesses who were able to provide information about two individuals, two persons of interest, relatives to this case, and we've gone ahead and forwarded and generated the report and forwarded to our detectives for follow-up and everything because this is a felony offense, and the manner of which it was done, it brings concern to us because a firearm was identified to be used by the veterinary assessment that was done up at Gain. We put it out there that we are looking for a male, possibly local, standing about 6 foot, the standard frame, 200 pounds. He's accompanied with a female who supposedly appears to be pregnant, and they were last seen walking around with a child and a stroller. These individuals are known to frequent the Jigo area, more of the mayor's office, and we're asking the community, aside from the Gains reward, the Guam Crime Stoppers continues to offer rewards for any information that leads to an arrest, any grand jury indictment relative to this case. So, whoever can come forward or whoever brings the information forward, and if it does lead to an arrest, any grand jury indictment, the Guam Crime Stoppers will pay up to a $1,000 reward relative to this case. So, we've done this before where we've worked with other companies and different private firms in which they offer their own personal reward or aside from the Guam Crime Stoppers. But again, Guam Crime Stoppers is a nonprofit organization, and we continue to assist the community by providing information to law enforcement and bringing justice to the victims and to the community by bringing the perpetrators, in and making the arrest and hopefully getting the conviction.
Well, I've got my fingers crossed, and again, one of the reasons why I want to talk about this is not necessarily to highlight the murder, the execution, if you will, of these dogs, and they weren't bony dogs, they weren't running around and causing trouble in a neighborhood dogs. As far as my understanding, number one, these are like inside the house for the most part, completely loved members of somebody's family that was taken away from them because somebody, I don't know, maybe add that to a list of problems around here, people taking out their aggravations on dogs. But I like this conversation now because it means that we can highlight the issue and talk about the fact that there are people out there that still care and want to help by contributing this reward. But my guess is that if it was me and I had the information, keep your money. Give it to Gain. I don't want the money as a reward for this. I'd like to see it go to the welfare of these animals. And I'm a dog lover, and my thing is I'd like to have about 5 minutes with the guy that did this. So when you catch him, we can do some more fundraising that way, right?
No, the fact that it's malicious, intent and everything that he brought forth to this animal, the pet, the family, the loss and everything, and it is a felony offense, and I want to inform the community out there that cruelty to an animal or to a pet is actually a felony offense and is punishable by law. So, again, the Crime Stoppers provides an avenue in which, you feel that any form of retaliation may be coming towards you because of your information. The Guam Crime Stoppers practice full anonymity, and no information will be shared with any other than the law enforcement agency that's doing the investigation of this case.
Got that. Hey, do you have any new cycles coming up? Not because I want to be asking for a friend. Are you guys hiring anybody at Guam Police Department?
We are currently in our cycle that's ongoing. The application had closed a few months ago. I think they're still filling the applicants and everything, and we should be starting another cycle sometime next year, March. So. The window of applications that was provided to the community actually closed 3 months ago. So once we get the cycle going, we're going to do our research again to try and generate funding from the federal side and to see if the government can help match that so that we can fulfill another cycle, another set
Yeah,
of.
because I'd sure like to get more cops out in the streets, because it seems to me that the current bunch that we have that are on the roads right now are doing an outstanding job pulling people over for any number of violations, and then finding secondary issues with which to apply justice. I love reading those stories in the magistrate reports about guys that get pulled over for having a busted taillight, and then as it turns out, we've also got 2 grams of ice.
Yeah, and it's
2 ounces.
Officers, absolutely, 2 ounces is a lot of dope. But it's really testimony of the officers' due diligence and everything. Coupled with the shortage of manpower and the financial restraints the government faces, these fine men and women who work the beat, who are out and about in patrol. It's their due diligence to making sure that they give 110% while they're here on duty and off duty, of course. And it's really just testimony of them wanting a safer and a better community for our island. So,
well, I only ask that you remember me when you start talking with these guys. You tell them that I am 101% behind them, and appreciate the work that they're doing.
I appreciate it. Coming from the community and members of the media, it really means a lot. It really is just a mere thank you and appreciation of what these fine men and women do, and pretty much first responders do on a daily basis.
Oh yeah. But it's cleaning up the streets, and that's important. Paulie, I got to run. I'll see you pretty soon.
All right, my Bridget. You take care.
I promise you I will. Paul Tapau from the Guam Police Department with me, talking about the reward now for information leading to and the conviction of whoever it is that's shooting dogs up in Jigo. But frankly, like I said, if they give it to you, give it to Gain, would you? It's 9 o'clock in the morning. We are KUSG FM Agana, Guam, also known as The Point.
Nomination fight. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. As the FBI continues its investigation into Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh, some lawmakers say they want to hear the results of the investigation before planning a vote on his confirmation.
Democratic leader Chuck Schumer says senators should hear directly from the FBI first.
We need to be briefed by the FBI, by the agent in charge. We can do it in the SCIF, on the extent of the investigation before there is a vote.
Arizona Republican Senator Jeff Flake, who wanted to give the FBI time to conduct a review, says he understands some of Kavanaugh's anger in last week's hearing, but thought it went too far.
Fox's Mike Emanuel at the Capitol. Lawyers for one of Kavanaugh's accusers, Christine Blasey Ford, says in a letter to FBI Director Chris Wray they've gotten no response from anyone involved in the investigation. A lawyer for President Trump strongly denying a report in the New York Times which alleges the president and his siblings committed fraud and tax evasion in the 1990s to boost money from their parents, calling the allegations extremely inaccurate and saying all matters were handled by licensed attorneys, CPAs, and real estate appraisers. The number of deaths from Hurricane Florence in the Carolinas rises again.
Another 2 deaths in North Carolina are being blamed on Hurricane Florence. That raises the total to 39. Governor Roy Cooper says 2 people were killed while doing cleanup. One was a 47-year-old man who must have fallen off a ladder. The other is a 69-year-old man who fell off a roof while making repairs. Florence dropped more than 30 inches of rain when striking the Carolinas last month in one of the nation's costliest natural disasters.
Fox's Evan Brown. Amazon announcing it's boosting its minimum wage for all U.S. workers to $15 an hour. That benefits more than 300,000 people. Fox News, fair and balanced.
Grilled salmon, petite sirloin. Can't decide.
What are you doing?
Making my top 10 list of favorite dishes at Ruby Tuesday.
You really need to get a hobby.
But I can't decide. There's no way I can narrow down so many classic dishes to just 10.
Then it's a good thing Ruby Tuesday did it for you.
It's the all-time favorites menu at Ruby Tuesday Guam. We took our most popular dishes and put them on one great menu for only $14.99. Hickory pork chop, Parmesan shrimp pasta, prime loco moco. 10 top sellers at one great price. Pick your favorite for a limited time at Ruby Tuesday Guam.
It's important to have claims process that works for you.
At Guahan Insurance Services, we make things simple and convenient. Same door you walk in to purchase your insurance is the same door you open to file your claim. We can't pretend that the car insurance claims process is fun, but we can promise a hassle-free and speedy recovery without any runarounds. For your home, auto, and business insurance, visit us at the Camacho Landmark Center on Marine Corps Drive in Tamuning. Don't forget to like us on Facebook or give us a call at 475-1162 or text 929-SAVE. That's 929-7283.
The Trump administration trying to weaken radiation rules, arguing that a little radiation damage is actually good for you. Critics say it could lead to higher levels of exposure for workers at nuclear installations and others. Facebook now says its latest security breach did not affect other sites.
Facebook reveals hackers responsible for its recent cyber attack were not able to access other sites. Unknown hackers exploited a feature in the social network's code, allowing them to take over up to 50 million user accounts. Initially, reps warned the breach could have given bad actors access to any platform folks use Facebook to log in with. But a Facebook executive overseeing security says this was not the case, telling Reuters, "We analyzed third-party access during the time of the attack and found no evidence that the attackers accessed any apps using Facebook login." Facebook still trying to confirm the identity or origin of the hack. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
An Oklahoma principal charged with child abuse and placed on administrative leave after he was accused of spanking two elementary school children with a wooden paddle. Gary Gunkel, the 50-year-old principal at Indianola Public Schools, charged with 2 counts of child abuse by injury. He's accused of using unreasonable force on September 6 when he paddled the 10 and 11-year-old students. A preliminary hearing set for next week. A Paris appeals court upholding a ruling for an American couple to return Pizarro painting to the descendants of a Jewish family that owned the artwork before it was seized during World War II. The couple, prominent Philadelphia collectors Bruce and Robbie Toll, loaned the work to a Paris museum for an exhibition last year. The painting from the Impressionist master was placed in temporary escrow after one of the heirs recognized it and sued to get it back. The Tolls said they didn't know when they bought the Pizarro that it had been stolen by France's war-era Vichy regime. Lisa Lacera, Fox News Radio.
Cheese curls and hot sauce, pantosta and coffee. Great alone, but better together. Here's another perfect pair for you. Docomo Pacific has created the Better Together bundle, combining 2 great services for one low price. Get unlimited local talk, text, and 20 gigs of data, plus unlimited home internet speed up to 20 megabits for $109 per month. You also get free installation and a Galaxy A8 Plus when you sign up today. Mobile plus online from Docomo Pacific. Better together. Some conditions apply. Call 688-KRC store for details.
Portions of the program brought to you by who dat? It's Kings, ladies and gentlemen, and today is Wednesday, so pork sinigang is the big lunch special today at the Kings restaurant, one in Tamuning and one in Harmon. Tomorrow, what's it going to be? Meatloaf. Meat cake. That's why we look forward to Thursdays, my friends. Enjoy it at Kings.
The first ever of anything is always special. That's why we're excited about the first ever 2018 Nissan Kicks. The Kicks kicks things up with best-in-class MPG, standard safety technology with automatic emergency braking system, and best-in-class cargo space to meet any lifestyle. Upgrades kicks things up with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and Bose driver headrest speakers. Over 1.4 million colorful options means your Kicks can be a first ever of its kind. The Kicks starts at under $20,000. Visit Nissan Guam for a test drive today. Nissan, innovation that excites.
I got everybody here that wants to be mentioned on the program. Some superior advertisers like MRE, Micronesia Renewable Energy. Never been a better time to go solar. Guam Regional Medical City. These guys are first choice for all of your open heart surgery needs. They've got the American WaterTech, Smarter Water, Better Water, and American President lines. They are shipping the future. Did I get them all? Cool.
The Westin Resort Guam is excited to announce the return of Hansik at Taste. Experience the elegance of Korean cuisine throughout the years, infused with a modern Chinese twist. Their guest chefs from Korea will take you on an extraordinary culinary voyage. $36 for adults and $18 for children 6 to 11. From October 8th to the 13th. Come and enjoy the taste of Hansik Korean lunch buffet from 11:30 to 2:30 at Taste. Call the Westin Guam Resort for reservations at 647-1020.
What am I saying? Oh, I got Cold Stone. The Ultimate Ice Cream Experience? Yes, they've got a couple of new flavors because they're like that. It's not just, you can go anywhere and get vanilla ice cream. You can go anywhere and get chocolate ice cream. But you go to Cold Stone, you get really good vanilla and chocolate ice cream, but you also get some incredible flavors. New stuff like the banana bread battered ice cream and sea salt caramel ice cream made with premium Ghirardelli sea salt caramel sauce in their new creation. It's celebrating 30 years of the Ultimate Ice Cream Experience. They are Cold Stone Creamery.
The Ray Gibson Show. Call now. 888-TALK. That's 888-8255.
Records, no. Non-copyrighted music to make sure that Facebook Live keeps all of the show intact, and so does YouTube Live. And I'm getting some interesting conversations here. Lacia, who is like my favorite weekend DJ of all time. So I don't spend a lot of time in clubs because I'm the oldest one there. So there's sometimes I'll go hang out over at Jimmy's on Sundays, and that's where Lacia spends. And it's a very cool, eclectic mix of music. Seems to match the crowd very well. Anyway, so she was there talking about wanting to watch the CLTC, and because she had attended. You should just call in, Lacia. Attending the CLTC meeting yesterday, I highly suggested they utilize Facebook and Facebook Live to stream and record their meetings for more transparency, accountability, and to keep stakeholders informed of what's going on, because many of us have a suspicion that they're trying to take decades worth of lousy decisions and sweep them under the rug, and worse, get it ratified by the legislature in an election year. How much fun is that going to be? They say they have a problem with funding, but you know what? Facebook is free. Daryl Taggarty, who is also, like myself, a technologist, says meetings at CLTC are recorded by PBS Guam. Simple matter of producing or exporting parallel YouTube format or version. Office of Technology setting up local PC and data link for DLM staff to operate. It's not that difficult. The hard part, he says, has already been done. They've got high-quality cameras and sound capture and teleconferencing infrastructure. Facebook Live would also allow them to upload copies of reports, bills, resolutions, and any other documents for the public to view, and for them to leave comments and questions as well. Hey, listen, we're learning, and forgive me if I spend a lot of time talking about this, but we are learning new and different ways to use this kind of Facebook Live technology to reach out and maybe, in our case on the radio, talk to people that maybe aren't going to be listening on the radio. Maybe you're more comfortable with watching the process, or maybe you just want to watch the process. It's not tricky. It's not tricky. But for me, because I'm a communication guy going back decades, one of the things that I've always wanted to do was be in the business of communications. And there's, for me, it's not me talking to you. I've done that already in my career. I've been the guy in the studio, no producer, just yak. And for me, it's always been about the feedback loop, right? The feedback loop. This works in a lot of different places in your life. I say something, and if what I say is relevant or meaningful, you will pick up the phone, call me. You will type something into an email. You will type something into Facebook Live. And you can type into something on YouTube Live now, or hit me up on the WhatsApp. And so as many of those different loops as I have going makes the job that much more enjoyable for me. Can I give you another thing that I like about it? It doesn't require us to all be here at the same time. Right? Mm-hmm. You can watch this feed as a video on demand and make a comment. And then I can pick up on that comment and talk about it tomorrow. Mm-hmm. So it kind of tears down and tears at the fabric of what we'd considered traditional communications before. And like I said, every day we're exploring new possibilities. Today, as of today, you can watch the show on thepoint.gu. You can watch the show on Facebook Live. You can watch the show now on YouTube Live. Mm-hmm. And they tell me it's a better picture on YouTube. I don't know how that can be because it's all coming out of the same encoder at the same frame rates. But maybe just something about the retransmission on the YouTube. I don't know.
You've probably heard about how in the old days, some of the old timers that would go to a baseball game but they would take the radio with them so they could listen to the radio broadcast while they watch the game in person. And it's like the best of both worlds, and that's kind of what we're giving you here. You get to get an inside look at the show, and you get to hear everything, you get to comment, and you can go back and make sure it was all what you thought it was.
Yeah. What did he say? What I think he said? Is that what happened? Is that what the caller said? So yeah, fun stuff to play around with. Anyway, I spent some time with another running buddy of mine, Manny Hechanova, in the 8 o'clock hour, talking about how there's not going to be a Cocoa Road race this year, but instead GVB is going to be helping out with virtually everything to do with the Hoffa Half Marathon that's going to be taking place February next year. Right, Joshy?
Oh, yeah, that's absolutely right, Ray. We're really excited to work with Guam Running Club and talking with Manny about it. I know I mentioned it to you as well when we ran the Coast 365K. So it's been a great announcement to get out. And, Cocoa is not happening this year, but it gives runners an extra 2 months to train for the race, for the Hoffa Half Marathon. And for me personally, I love that run at the beginning of the year because it's cooler. It's downhill. It's point to point.
Yeah, but you got to go. You make that turn. You got to make that turn into Two Lovers Point. I'm not nuts about that turn into Two Lovers Point. It's my least favorite part of it because I don't know. You feel so good because you're going, man, I'm almost there. It's almost Tumon. You're almost in Upper Tumon. Oh wait, I got to turn here for 4 miles. Crap.
It's true. It does feel a little bit longer, but it helps when you have a good team cheering you on and seeing all the friendly faces that come out.
Well, the good thing is that GVB is going to be involved, right? So okay. So I think that's a right-on thing. So that means that there's going to be even more to look at, more to do at the water stops and the cheering stations and all of that. But that's not necessarily why I called. One of the reasons why I called was the August numbers are looking good, huh?
Yeah, it turned out to be the best month in visitor arrivals in Guam's history, beating the 2016 record from a couple years ago. So we welcomed over 145,000 visitors, and this has happened to be the 1-year anniversary since the North Korea news, and that's really just, I think, a testament to just everything that the industry has been doing to help recover our numbers and also invite all different visitors. We had, for example, in Japan, 117 charter flights that were flown, which is kind of the bulk of the charter flights for the summer. That added, and then also United added 20 additional seats for August, and it's just really, really awesome just to see that. And then we had the
so we've obviously slowed now with the charters, though, Joshy. That is put in place so that we can slow down a little bit, if you will, the decline in Japanese numbers, and maybe take an opportunity to remind them what's so cool about coming to Guam.
Exactly. The charter flights are going to be scheduled throughout the rest of the calendar year. There's just over 470 charter flights that will have flown when the calendar year ends. But in the meantime, NAIA has been talking about all the different incentive programs to help get airlines to either increase their seats on the airlines or open up new routes. And so we're going to be seeing that. So what's going to happen in the near future, we're going to see the reintroduction of the 777.
Right.
United already made that announcement, so that will begin at the end of October for the Tokyo flights. In December, United's adding 4 more flights a week between Guam and Nagoya. And then we still have the charter flights continuing. JAL made that news a little earlier, a few months ago, about them deciding to extend their second daily flight through March of next year. So just good news.
Yeah, there is. So obviously there are some incredible steps. Now, did I hear you say that it was the best August in history, or the best month of arrivals in history?
It was both. So
it's both.
It's both. So it's the best August ever, and then it's the best visitor arrivals month ever. So
I thought it was busier down there in the Tumon area. That is, you know why? Because they put a little mini Pika there. Right, the little mini Pikas there. That's why it's now totally bomb. You can't get in there. Yes, I know. And Mike is reminding me that we had 1 billion visitors coming in from some of the military stuff as well.
Yes, and then for September we had Valiant Shield as well. So that's something that I think will also affect arrivals. But also September too, we're also looking at a lot of weather events happen in our region. So with Osaka, Hong Kong, Japan, Philippines, Guam, so we're still monitoring that for this past month. But just
I was going to say, what do the preliminary numbers for September look like?
I haven't received them from the research department yet. So as soon as I get that,
there's one desk over. Just ask them, what do you got?
They still have to do a lot of number crunching and make sure the data is clean and verified. So,
Okay, and now when are we going? Now, when are you and I going to get to go run in Sapporo?
Oh my gosh. Let's talk about it next year. It'll be up to Nate and those guys. But didn't you run that?
I did. I had a good time running there, and I want to do it again.
Awesome. I'll let Nate know when he gets back so we can schedule that.
Yeah. Everybody, you just heard me shill for a free trip to Sapporo to go run for GVB. Yes, I did. Not gonna. All right. Well, listen, I'm gonna let you go because I know how busy you are, and we'll look for some preliminary numbers coming out of September before too much longer.
Yes, we should have that in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. Tell me first, though. Don't leave it as don't send it to anybody else in the media. Only me.
Okay, you got it, Ray.
Appreciate it, buddy. You have a terrific one. That's my buddy Josh Stakenko from the Guam Visitors Bureau. Yakking about August arrival numbers, and as he said, I'd misread it. I thought it was just saying that it was the best August in the history of Augusts, since John F. Kennedy said tourists don't need to get permission from me to go to Guam anymore. But as it turns out, it's the best August ever. And the best month ever for arrivals. Not bad. Very, very cool. 919. So as I said, we're playing around with the different uses of the technology around here. WhatsApps and putting radio in video form and sticking it up on different platforms. Now that's been done. I mean, I was on cable channel 2 and whatever the other the good TV channel 2 was, and so I've kind of been there, done that. But I think there are different ways, and especially this younger generation doesn't use media the same way that I did when I was growing up. And because it's a different kind of media form, their expectations are different. That's why, my radio stations all have a thing called RDS, where we put title and artist on the songs. You know why? Because the audience that we're targeting is used to seeing that when they're streaming it or when they're playing it on their iPhone critters and things like that. So we need to match the expectations of the listeners and the viewers. So and people, their viewing habits are changing. Lasia is on the line. Lasia, when was the last time you sat down and watched an actual over-the-air television show?
Oh, I can't remember that.
See? Yeah. I mean, and even newscasts. They say, you watch the 6 o'clock news. I don't watch the 6 o'clock news. Yep. If there's a story that I'm interested, I'll go to their website and watch just that one story.
Everything I watch now is either on Netflix, Facebook,
YouTube?
Yeah, pre-recorded. Yeah, at my when it's convenient for me.
Exactly, and that's the nature of the way people are using media here this morning. So it is possible that we get more people watching the video-on-demand version of the Ray Gibson Show than are going to watch it in real time. And the reason is because I don't have to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to hear what the rant was. I can just wait until 10 and watch the show. And if I want to communicate with Ray, I'll send him an email. And tell him so that's it's an interesting way the world works. And one of the things, I spoke about this yesterday, the technology that we're using here is scaled for radio, but there are different systems that are out there, and I'll basically give you the business plan for you. I'll give you the model. You go and you find a device called a what is it, Mike? I want to say video toaster, but that's not I'll remember in a second. Anyway, they're not really expensive. In fact, there's a bunch of briefcase-size units that a lot of these streaming companies and stream aggregators will practically give you because they want content, right? So you go and you plug in a couple of decent quality cameras into it, and you stick a couple of microphones in front of people, and then you press the go live button, and then pretty soon your stream is out there in the world, and you can stream it live. You can record it for later. You want to burn it to a DVD and sell it, you can do that. You want to sell it to somebody that's in the over-the-top business. So when somebody wants to subscribe to it, you get a nickel per view or something like that. There are all of these systems that are out there and available, and people are going, well, what do we put on them? And the answer is whatever we want to. So what would you like to see on a streaming service?
Well, I've been utilizing, Facebook Live since the beginning of my campaign.
Yes.
We go to these forums. They only give us 1 minute or 2 minutes to respond. It's impossible to get our message out there in 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I held 3 forums in which I gathered, all the Democratic candidates. And we actually spoke for about 3 hours on the different issues. It was all streamed live on Facebook. People can go back. I've had over 10,000 views on each of those, which is a bigger audience, that's been sitting in a small forum, trying to regurgitate, my entire platform in
90 seconds. But the beauty of it, one of the other beauties of this is it's instantly social. Now that once this show becomes video on demand, and you can do this on YouTube as well. You just get to a specific segment, and in this case, it'll be 9:20 in the morning, and you'll be able to take a link from 9:20 in the morning on the YouTube feed and post that anywhere you want to and send it to virtually everybody in your email list and say, I was on the Ray Gibson Show at this time. It becomes social. And once they get it, they can share it among their universe of friends and followers.
Exactly. It's all about posting on other people's pages as well. We get more views through that.
Yes, exactly.
And yesterday, I was attending the Chamorro Land Trust committee meeting, and there was one resident stakeholder who came up, and she just was going off about not having access to information, and when Pika called on me, I said, listen, we've been utilizing this. Facebook Live is free.
Mm-hmm.
I know you guys have a problem with funding. All you have to do is set up one of your phones here in front of you guys and videotape it. You could also upload documents that people need to see, reports that people just need to see, and get their feedback on what's happening. We need more transparency and accountability in our government agencies, and this is a great medium.
Well, and there, I think in the history of the government of Guam, there apparently doesn't seem to be anyone that's needed more transparency and accountability than the Department of the Chamorro Land Trust Commission, and to a degree the Department of Land Management that had been overseeing incorrectly the rules and regulations of the Chamorro Land Trust. So, that's as I said in the beginning of this when we started talking about your idea of getting this recorded. Yeah, I want to be able to review on tape the moment that they decided that they were going to sweep the decades worth of incorrect policy under the rug.
Oh, I agree. I think that that's a mistake. Observing the committee, I'm not quite sure that this committee is, how do I say, have the proper training or ability or experience actually to be dealing with Chamorro Land Trust or land issues, development issues. They seemed quite overwhelmed.
Well, they got guidance from they asked for and received, I thought, some pretty good guidance from the Attorney General.
But they went against that.
Correct, and now they're going to take it and put it in the next most irresponsible department or part of the government of Guam. They're going to give it to the legislature, where half of the people are lame duck, and the other ones are going to be trying to vamp themselves for re-election.
Well, let me tell you, Ray.
This is going to be a disaster. There's going to be lawsuits.
Yeah, prior to moving back to Guam, I worked for one of the top corporate real estate firms in New York City for over a decade. So dealing with land issues, leases, commercial leases, development is my forte. People are aware of Save Southern Guam, and we took the Guam Land Use Commission to court, and we succeeded in stopping that irresponsible development in Pago Bay. Well, a priority in my campaign is to restructure the Department of Land once I get into the 35th Guam legislature and streamline it, reorganize it, and make it more transparent and accountability to the people of Guam.
It ain't hard. I'm just, it's we use the technology, and speaking of technology, I'm interested in just what exactly the Bureau of Technology has been doing all these years.
I'm sorry. What was?
No. I'm sorry. I'm just stream of consciousness thought as I was pondering what you were talking about. I don't think it needs to be as difficult as some are going to make. In fact, I guess yesterday, it's one of the other stories that I was looking at yesterday over at the legislature. Seemed to be a whole lot of talk about issues. Senator Dennis Rodriguez has got a measure that he had sent over that was looking specifically to do exactly that, which would be to try to make it so that that we are using teleconferencing and video technology as much as possible in some of these things. But the problem is, I think the fly in the ointment is he would leave it up to each of the individual departments and agencies to determine to what degree they would be utilizing this technology and come up with their own rules. So, and I don't think that would be the right way to do it. I think that would present some challenges to open government.
Yeah, well, I don't think that necessarily every agency, needs to broadcast every single meeting. There's some meetings that.
I don't know. I mean, let's look at some of the problem guys that we've got here. Guam Memorial Hospital. I think every time they get together, unless they're an executive session, I think that board needs to be on television once a week.
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly, 1,000% with that.
Yeah, and then you got the Department of Education, and there's 50 other boards and commissions out there, and it'd be interesting because you get a whole different view of it than even when people are writing about it in the newspaper. But there's the Allied Board of Health, right? And here's a group that actually, I mean, this is one of these groups that makes decisions that really do have an impact on our lives. I mean, people that you go to get your nails done or your hair did or take the dog to the vet or the cat to the vet and get a tattoo. These are all the people that are in charge of some of those decisions. And I'd like to know a little bit about what I considered in sometimes to be some bias on the boards.
I agree. Yes. Perhaps they all do need to be broadcast. Every single agency needs to have their own Facebook page. But then we get into who's going to admin, some of these pages and what information is deemed, available for public use. So,
like I said, everything except what happens in the executive committee. It seems to me those are people that are talking about the utilization of tax dollars. So it seems to me that everybody ought to be involved. And as far as who's going to be the administrator, I don't know that I would make the board chairman that, but it seems to me that anyone that responds to that board would be among those that if it was the ports board, right? Yeah. So somebody in the organization that responds back to that board is going to be in charge of adminning Facebook pages and YouTube feeds and things like that. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. No. You know what? When it comes to accountability and transparency, anything that can improve that in our government, I support.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Well,
and this is a great medium.
It certainly is, and one that I appreciate being able to exploit on a regular basis. Now, this is also, by the way, the small talk portion of the program, and so I have to number one, make a plug. Sundays at Jimmy's are magical, made much more magical because of a chill playlist that Lacia comes out with.
Thank you. Thanks for that plug. I guess a lot of people don't know that I DJ on Sundays at Jimmy D's, but thank you. Please come down.
Dude, I didn't know until I saw you. It was crazy. And I thought this is
my biggest fans now.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, I'm sitting there. I hope you notice whenever you drop something that I go, oh man, that's my jam. I always kind of turn around and look at you and mentally give you a thumbs up on it.
I see it. I kind of look. I put that song on. I look around and I watch you turn around because I know what touches you.
Yeah, it was a Barry White piece.
Yeah, and Cher.
And she played Dark Lady by Cher, right? And I guarantee that she and I were the only two people at Jimmy D's on Sunday that knew that there was a Cher did a song called Dark Lady.
Nice. Crazy fun, but I wasn't there.
All right. Well, Lacia, if you want to follow along with what she's got, she's posted something on the Facebook Live, something, hashtag Vote Casil 2018 and hashtag Lacia for Guam. Or just...
That's my Facebook page, Lacia for Guam.
Okay.
Check me out. I'm number 9 on the Democratic ticket, and I humbly ask for your vote.
Oh, you had to do the commercial thing too, huh? Crap, now I got to interview the other 28 people. I got to find something interesting about them. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Thanks, Ray.
All right. I certainly will. 9:32 in the morning, 888-8255. 888-8888 is the number for iConnect. Don't you know they are the practical choice? Haven't you heard? Why don't you know that? Sorry, I'm telling you, it's the orange shirt. It's liberating. You've got it. And don't give me any of this. Oh, it's a thing. It's Ray's dog whistle that he's in with the campaign.
No,
it's not. I got an orange shirt from my sister. Tell you what, can I get even friskier with this orange shirt? Yeah, I can. I'll pop a collar. This is a polo shirt.
Just tell them you're rooting for the Astros.
There.
I don't have to say anything more.
Wait, I got to sit higher in the chair so people can see that I got my collar all popped, yo. Anyway, I was saying, iConnect is the practical choice. 888-8888 is the telephone number. I want you to give them a ring and find out about how they are going to improve the life that you have, telecommunications-wise. You need mobile? They got mobile. You need internet? They've got internet. You need push-to-talk? Oh, man. They've got push-to-talk that's out of this world. I'm trying to figure out how I can make it so that I can start using push-to-talk here at the radio station. You probably already got a need you've established. Call them at 888-8888 and find out about why they are the practical choice.
Security Title is honored to join in sponsoring Ray Gibson on The Point. My name is Alicia Blas from Agate, and this is where I start my day, listening to the voices of our community and sharing thoughts about issues that affect all of us. It all boils down to our people and our land. Putehi Igumamu. Protect your home. When purchasing or refinancing your home, remember to call the professionals at Security Title, just like you call Ray Gibson in the morning.
Taste the sizzle at Chili's with our new fajita flavors. Our signature fajitas are served with sliced bell peppers, caramelized onions, topped with chipotle garlic butter, and chopped cilantro. Build your fajita with over 16 ounces of tender grilled chicken, juicy steak, and a dozen pieces of seasoned grilled shrimp in the family fajita trio. All served with warm flour tortillas and fresh toppings like mixed cheese, guacamole, salsa, and pico de gallo. Experience bold, sizzling fajita flavors only at Chili's. More life happens here.
I mean, it's a lost bet. See, now, I'm afraid this was going to happen. I got people that are chiming in now on both platforms. I got folks that are yakking on Facebook Live. I also have folks that are yakking back on the YouTube Live. Brad's there saying, no, that orange shirt is not a dog whistle. It's a lost bet. Orange shirt. What? Like I lost a bet? No, you'll know when I lose a bet. A couple of things. One is I'll either eat a bug or I will get my head shaved. Have you ever done that? Have you ever lost a bet and you had to have your... No.
I did cut off all my hair once just because I got tired of it and gave it to
Decided
cancer.
to start over again?
Yeah, I gave it to a lady who does wigs for cancer patients.
Got a note here from a friend of mine, May, who says, heads up, almost every account is being cloned. And another note that I got from somebody that said that her handle on Facebook Live was used to respond to somebody else's on our Facebook Live broadcast, and it ain't hers. And she's like, what can you do about it? And there's nothing I can do. If an account has been cloned, then Facebook Live will see it as an account. It doesn't know who it belongs to. It might be a second account for somebody. So there's very little I can do about that, but keep an eye on your Facebook profiles, and if you see somebody that is responding back to you saying, wow, I can't believe what you said on that thread, you got to go back and send out notes that maybe you have been picked up as well. Where are we? 9:35, and very close for your personal friend. I don't hear from him as much as I'd like to. Henry Simpson's on the line. Hey, Smoking Wheels. Henry,
hi, Ray.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good. Can you hear me?
I hear you just fine.
Okay. Well, I meant to call in several times, but we didn't have a firm date, and we actually have a firm date now. There's going to be a public hearing for the extension of our lease, for our 50-year lease at the Guam International Raceway, and it's October 10th at 5 o'clock at the legislature, And so I wanted to let all the guys know. There's other ways I know people are talking about it, but I wanted to let you guys know and let your wide listening audience know that there's going to be a public hearing on October 10th at 5 o'clock, and we really appreciate everybody coming down and let the senators know that, keeping the racetrack and finishing building it is a very important thing for a lot of people.
So what's the bill number that this public hearing refers to? I'm sorry, I've forgotten. I know it's one of Tom's bills, right?
Yes, it's Tom Adams' bill, and you know what? Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm driving. I don't have it in front of me.
I'll find out about it. Basically, just go to the Guam Legislature website and look up racetrack, and you ought to, or just look at any of Tom's bills. It's not that old. Yeah. We were talking about it before, and from my perspective, look, I'm one of the original Smoking Wheels guys that goes back to the old Calvo compound, and you and Richard Kreitzer and Sonny Shelton, whole Eddie Cruz, a whole gaggle of guys that introduced everybody to high performance racing at so many different levels. In fact, I've called some of those races back in the past. I sucked at it, but I tried. But anyway, so the part of the idea is you got to remember that back in the day that we used to have a real serious problem here with guys getting accidents, getting wrecks, get themselves killed, drag racing on the streets. And then we opened up the raceway, and now nobody wants to drag on the streets. They want to do it there where it's legit, where it's measured, and where it's timed properly. And if it's Friday night, then chances are very good you're going to find some of the finest rides and the finest drivers and the finest performance parts, etc., at the raceway track. So I don't have a problem with you guys maintaining that lease for another 50 years.
Thank you. Yeah, that's been one of the real success stories of the track, and one of the things, when Senator Kaspar first was talking about getting the legislation going, I had asked him in his campaigning to talk to people about would they like to see a drag strip, and he came back and just said it was overwhelming support for having a drag strip, having a place where people can legally race and do it safely, do it off the streets, and it worked out really, really well. The racetrack is kind of a culmination of a lot of things. It was that loss of the drag strip that we had down in Harmon Field. It was the want to have a Guam Grand Prix, kind of like the Macau Grand Prix, as a tourism draw. It was the need for another safe place to do motorcycle racing and various different things, in motorized sports. When we knew we were going to lose the track up in Upper Heights, the Calvo family, Jose and Herminia Calvo, really graciously let us use their property there for over 30 years. Mm-hmm. And so we always knew we had to go someplace else because it was going to be subdivided for their family. And that was one of the impetuses to work on the new track, to try and build the Guam Grand Prix, so that we can actually have an international Grand Prix race here, and then also to make sure we had a safe place for the for the motorcycle and off-road racing. And so it's turned into much more than that. We've now had that the trench mudder out there last weekend was really successful. There was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of runners and teams participating. So it's turned into even more of a multi-purpose use.
Well, and it's a great place, and obviously a great place for a car show. So the only concern that I had about what was going on up there, and I don't know to what degree it was resolved, but there's also a certain amount of quarrying that is going on, and I was never sure, number one, whether the government of Guam was making enough money out of that quarrying, whether the taxpayers were getting a good turn out of the quarrying efforts that were taking place up there, whether it matched the cost of getting it out of the ground versus the cost of sale of the goods that were coming out of the ground. I was wondering, where along the line was the taxpayer going to get some benefit to that?
Well, they did. actually, it goes to the Chamorro Land Trust. And, you know, when beggars can't be choosers, and when we were shown that property in the beginning, I was really kind of disheartened because there wasn't, you know, 100 cubic yards of red dirt on the place.
Right.
And we came from Alpha Heights where there's nothing but red clay and really good areas for motorcycle racing and off-road racing and stuff. But we didn't have the luxury of having that property, and we were offered this. It had a huge hill in the middle of it. And so over this past 20 years, we've removed about 4 million cubic yards of material to get it down flat to where it is usable for what we plan to do. And there was, quarrying is kind of a misnomer. We're actually grading. All our work is on grading permits to grade it down to the level that we need to build with. And we actually got the idea early on from Black Construction up at the airport. They had a lot of excess material, and they advertised it. If you wanted to buy excess material, you could buy their excess material for 50 cents a cubic yard. You put in your truck, and they loaded it, and away it went. So I started asking those guys. I said, we need to move all this material so we can build a racetrack. Would you cut it, grade it for us, and sell it for us? And they said, yeah, we can do that. This is good material. And so the various companies, Hawaiian Rock, Ferris Brothers, Smithbridge, have worked on removing the material that's there to get it down to where it's usable for us. Because the land was not really set up for a racetrack when we went in. It's one of the reasons nobody ever had any claims on that property, and in a way it was very good because it was what was called Guam Crown lands that was owned by the Spanish government, and when it was passed over to the U.S., who passed it over to Guam, nobody claimed it. Nobody wanted it because it was so rough and ragged, and there was no farming on it. There was no anything being done on it. So it worked out well in that aspect. And
so it wasn't like mining. It wasn't like we were going in there and getting gold. It was just stuff that people could eventually use and use in construction, et cetera. And so that once that's done, it's done. Correct?
Yes. Once it's done, it's done. It's cut down, and we still have some grading to do. Not a lot. The majority of it's done now. Now it's time to start building.
Daryl Taggarty says, still hear drag racing and police sirens late at night throughout 15. And is current footprint sufficient for the next 50 years based on demand? Maybe there's going to be a new category he's postulating here, thinking high-performance electric cars, Le Mans-type road races. And I don't know if you've ever been in a Tesla, Henry. It's incredible.
Yeah. I'm planning on buying an electric car. My son just bought a Tesla Model 3. He in the States. I've been trying to get him to come back out here. But, yeah, that's the future. Electric cars, there's a lot of electric cars in our future, and electric car racing. The start of the Guam Grand Prix was Governor Calvo had called John Camacho, myself, and a few other enthusiasts together to see if we could design Tuman back when they were redoing San Vitores Road.
Yeah.
And they wanted us to study, could we, if they were developing that road, widening the road, is there any way that we could hold a race on it? And so we took a look at it, and there, it could be done. It's not impossible, but it couldn't be done very responsibly because, again, it would be millions of dollars to protect it like they do in Macau and Monaco by putting up guardrails that you have to put up and take down. So nobody could use it. You could only use it that once a year. It was very fast. because there's not any sharp turns or anything down there. And it was also, we don't have a lot of back streets that you could connect to, so the whole area would be cut off while the race was on. So it was really impractical to do that through Tumon, and so that was our finding, that we should do an area that would allow for people to use it for many different purposes. And so that was the kind of the start for the hunt too, for a place where we could build a racetrack.
I like what you got now. Outside of any of the other issues that we've talked about, I don't really have a problem with the extension of that lease over 50 years. I've seen what you've been able to do there in just the last 25, so I can only imagine what the mainstays of the sport and the industry are going to be able to do with it, with a little bit of imagination and the ability to be able to say, we're going to be here for 50 years. That makes a difference when you're bringing on partners.
Yes, it does. Yes, it really does. And it gives us the ability to, sublease for a gas station, so we can have racing fuels on site. We can have a lot of other synergistic racetrack-related businesses along with us that help carry the burden. So.
Well, heck, you need to put a 24-hour-a-day bar up there, because it's not going to be too far away from the firing range. Well, I guess it will be. No, they moved it. Anyway, hey, Henry, I got to run. I'll talk to you pretty soon.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And tell everybody to come out on the 10th.
The October 10, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We put it there so more people can show up, and obviously it'll be on the legislature's YouTube channel. We hope for the Tom Addis bill that would provide a 50-year lease to the International Raceway. Henry, you have a terrific day.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
No, pleasure's always mine, buddy. 9:48 in the morning, 888-8255 is the telephone number. I've got a note from our friends over at Beyond the Box. Felice has sent me a note. And you ever... Yes, it's always nice to get a note from a pretty girl. So she has sent me a thing, and it's a reminder. I'll show it to you on the show live tomorrow. But I got to tell you, I'm enjoying living with an iPhone watch or an Apple Watch. I'm enjoying the process. I think I've settled on the watch face that I want, and I've discovered a new app that I enjoy that I can actually use. And that I don't have to reach for a phone to get involved in telecommunications. So I think it's great. Now, there's a little bit of, what's the word, buyer's anxiety, if you will, because I got this because this is what we had available on launch day last Friday.
Right.
Okay. There is another watch coming out. Yeah, another watch coming out this Friday. And you know what, Phil, what we might want to do is might want to go through the unboxing with the understanding that I have to give it back. But the Nike Apple Watch is coming out. Now, I don't know what the difference is between the Nike Apple Watch and this watch other than
the Nike watch. Yeah, the Nike watch just does it.
It just does it. Yeah, and it's got a swoosh on it.
Yeah.
There might be everything exactly the same, except the Nike watch and Razor Runner.
Does that mean you'll kneel during your races?
It could be. I don't know. Just at least in the beginning. At least I generally kneel in prayer or stretch anyway.
There you go.
Yeah. So they got that. So that kind of interesting thing to me. So October the 5th, Beyond the Box will have them. I don't think I've got the prices for it yet, but my guess is it'll be along the same lines as the 4s. And she's asking, well, did you get the new iPhone already? And I know guys, but even the guys I know can't go, yeah, you can have a brand new Apple XS Max with the dual SIM.
What does one of those run? About $1,100?
I have no idea.
Something like that?
I don't know. Oh, she says same price. Oh, really? Same price for the Nike? Well, let me know if you want me to do an unboxing like we did the other day, and then maybe somebody can bring me by. But producers throwing me mercilessly into a break, so let me take care of that, and then we'll go over the table of contents and look at all of the crap that I forgot to talk about.
At Guam Regional Medical City, it is our mission to become the island's premier choice for specialty care, like cardiology, pulmonology, neurosciences, orthopedics, oncology services, and more. We aim to protect our island from heart attacks, strokes, cancer, and diabetic complications. But should you suffer from such diseases, we're ready with world-class options, both inpatient and outpatient. For more information, visit us at grmc.gu.
it's not on the table of contents, but this being the hour where I generally will sit in the stream of consciousness and just let you know what's on my mind, what I've been thinking about. I've discovered a new obsession with different kinds of social media. And something that I find myself consistently going back to every single time. There's many different opportunities for distraction on social media, right? And Facebook, just Facebook. I mean, there's a bunch of rabbit holes that you can run down to on Facebook and just spend hours there. And the new one. And I have to say, if sometimes if you tune into radio and I'm a little bit distracted. Which is like every time?
Yeah.
Right. You know why? Because I was at Guam Grabs or Guam's for sale or, whatever. It's a rummage sale places on Facebook.
Yeah. Some of that stuff's stolen,
Good. You don't have to pay as much.
Yeah, you can tell in the descriptions which ones are stolen and which ones aren't.
You're trying to dissuade me, aren't you?
Oh, no. Not at all.
No.
That's a good deal, man.
I've got furniture so I've got furniture that I picked up off the side of the road.
Yeah, see?
We'll say that. But I've also got furniture that I've gotten from the Guam Grabs or Anderson's Going Away or something like that because it's nice furniture.
Yeah.
And figure somebody's taking decent care of it, and it's generally a whole lot less than you would pay retail.
Yes.
And so I've just had a terrific time doing that. And you meet some incredible people. I've got to say, some of the people that I've met buying stuff off the internet have been some very, very interesting folks. And in a couple of cases, we've kind of gotten back together again. In fact, I bought a chest. It's a chest, kind of a dresser from this woman earlier this week. And as it turns out, she also runs a water blasting company.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so they're going to be up on my roof on Saturday morning. How about that? So there's just all kinds of people and all kinds of stuff that you can get. Buyer beware, obviously. It's not like you're buying it from someplace that you're going to, if you get ripped off, show up at the Attorney General's office. But I think it's just kind of fun to see, as they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to see some of the stuff that they're getting rid of. Can your new wearable appliance be accessed remotely through a back door for commercial or official purposes? Are laws and enforcement prepared to curb unauthorized uses, a la Facebook account hacks? You're talking about the iWatch or the Apple Watch, and the answer to the question is if it is something that man has put together, then the answer is it is something that man can hack.
So true.
I am not creative enough. I'm not enough of a programmer to determine what it is. And just the fact that the watch has to Bluetooth communicate with the iPhone means that there is some kind of ethereal connection between the two of them. Can somebody reach out and sniff and grab without permission, without knowing what my Bluetooth unlock code is? Yeah, there's all of that stuff. But I suppose the convenience of being able to use this kind of technology to make my life better, to make my life more interesting, to surf for things that I'd like to buy from Guam Grabs on Facebook or whoever it is that I'm looking at. They're all the same. They're all just different names, right? Is that the way it works? So you post in one place and then it goes into the 20 others that there are out there. And if you're a politician or really anybody that is not selling something on these pages and you're just posting there whatever and it's not a sale thing, I hate you. Can you not do that? There's all kinds of other places on Facebook where you can drop your crap. Please don't make that one of them. I go there to get away from you and some of the crazy things that you are thinking. So please don't put that in the other places. Okay, 9:56 in the morning. Now, going back to the table of contents and stuff that I didn't spend a lot of time talking about, I thought Rory had a very interesting editorial in this morning's Daily Post. That's Roy Respicio. As I've said before, if for no other reason to annoy him, I generally will eschew his page because because a lot of times he's just, bashing Trump and bashing the administration. I've been, fight about it all you want to. If you want to, I won't engage. But I think that there's some pretty interesting things that have come out of Donald Trump's presidency. I guarantee you're not going to agree with that statement at all, and I don't care. But that just is. So at any rate, so I generally will look, and if it's something where he's not bashing Trump, I'll read it. And today, a pretty interesting couple of thoughts that he had. One about the riffs on the possibility of not a Democrat majority or a Republican majority at the legislature, but a female majority at the legislature. You think about it. And take a look at some of the big vote getters in the primary election, right? So there could be something to that. But then he goes on and talks about another female associated with an election, and asks out loud a question that a lot of people have been asking: where is Alicia Liptiaco? Where'd she go? I needed to hear more from her during the campaign, but now that it's done, if there's a conversation about a write-in campaign, Frank isn't saying anything. So if you've got any aspirations for rolling around as a lieutenant governor with somebody, maybe you ought to start doing some of the talking. Heck, I'll write you in just for fun. I'll write you in for fun. Speaking of fun things, a reminder, tomorrow, conversations with the candidates at the Sheraton Laguna Guam Resort from 8 o'clock until noon. Do you know why it's 8 o'clock until noon? Because this is put together by the Guam Women's Chamber of Commerce, and they don't screw around all day. So they like to go in and do their thing and then get out, and then everybody can go back to work. Right? Now, if this was put together by me and my buddies, we'd have this starting about, 10 o'clock in the morning, so I don't need to go to the office first because I still got to go to the things or whatever. We'll start at 10, and we'll have a session, and there'll be lunch, and then there'll be a couple of more sessions, and then it's like 3:30, 4 o'clock. There's not enough time to have another session, but there is time to start cocktails. Right? So that's the way guys do. We just take the whole day, not the women. No, I got to get back to work. You got to work. It's true. Women leadership is disruptive. Ask Trump. Talked about that. The most bizarre headline that you are going to see today, and I'll read it to you. Fake $100 bill offered to pay for stolen liquor. Now, without going through the entire magistrate report, there is a guy, and I think this happened at Payless, where he stole a couple of bottles of booze, and they came and said, you shouldn't ought to do that. And he says, I'll pay you, and then proceeded to hand them a counterfeit $100 bill. Huh? That's something else. I'm sorry. So apparently there's this thinking in the criminal world where you take two separate crimes, but when you combine them, they cancel each other out.
It works every time.
Right?
Yes.
I'm sure that's what he was thinking, because that was what the thinking was in my head when I read about that.
Just like driving with bad driver's licenses and carrying dope. One should cancel the other out.
But they don't, and the police will nab you every single time, and I think that's it. And prayers out to, there was this video, I don't want to say it went viral, but a video floating around yesterday of a guy got into a mix-up on a motorcycle, and word is that he is in stable condition at Guam Memorial Hospital. I pray for a smooth and quick recovery, because it looked kind of hairy out there. 10 o'clock in the morning, the radio station is KUSG Hagatna. My, what an interesting Bob Klitsky show it's going to be today at 4. So I'm going to do everything I can to make sure I don't have any shh in the signal when that happens. You have an outstanding day. I'll catch you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. right here on The Ray Gibson Show.
For top administration officials, I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. 3 separate envelopes suspected of containing ricin intercepted.
The Secret Service is now confirming the last letter was addressed to President Trump but did not make it into the White House or near the White House. It was received and detected at a federal mail sorting facility yesterday, but the Secret Service will not tell us, at least yet, which facility that was. The letter did contain the very same substance as 2 letters sent to the Pentagon yesterday, and those letters tested positive for ricin. The first letters were addressed to Defense Secretary James Mattis and Admiral John Richardson. He is the chief of naval operations. They were intercepted at a mail screening facility in